Well, just a fantastic first Saturday of November here in Nashville for Southeast Missouri and Tennessee State. SEMO ranked number 21, 3-1 on OVC play. TSU with a 1-3 conference record for veteran coach Rod Reed. Should be a fun matchup today. Our OVC standings, UT Martin suffered that first loss last week against SEMO. You got that whole group at 3-1. Jacksonville State lurking at 3-2, trying to make it 6 consecutive OVC championships. Kevin Ingram alongside Bob Belvin. We're happy to have you with us. The Southeast Missouri team, they've won back-to-back weeks against contenders. Jacksonville State a couple weeks ago, UT Martin last week. For Tennessee State, Bob, an open week after a victory against Austin Peay on homecoming, feeling a little better about their situation.
Could not have come at a better time for Tennessee State, and then winning the football game in the manner they did 2 weeks ago against Austin Peay at their homecoming. A big part of why they feel very good coming into this game this afternoon, plus they've had a week to heal.
As for Southeast Missouri, you go through conference play. You're going to play a lot of close games. You got to win those. 4 games by 1 touchdown or less. They've won 3 of them.
Well, the old cliche defense wins championship applies to the Southeast Missouri team. They're getting it done with stingy defense, forcing turnovers, and then just when they need to play offensively, they've won a lot of close games and very low-scoring games. They've been able to get that play to get them over the top, and they are without a doubt a contender in this league.
Here's what they've done the last 4, and using a couple different quarterbacks for TSU. A terrific receiver duo of Stephen Newbold and Chris Rowland. You see Chris right there. He's a Nashville guy. He is shooting up the charts when you look at some of the records in play for him.
Well, I could leave you hanging and just say this guy is fantastic, remarkable. What else could you say about him? Well, you could throw all those adjectives. We talk about Chris Rowland. He is a huge part of their offense. The numbers he's racking up are mind-boggling, and he's still got a lot of games to play.
Whether it's receiving or returning, he has been remarkable. Chris Rowland, he'll be a handful. 12 catches for 113 last time. 27th meeting, SEMO and TSU coming up from Nashville. Our OVC Game of the Week is next.
To 99% customer satisfaction, isn't it time you looked at Delta Dental with Delta Vision? Talk to your employer or visit coveryourmouth.com today to learn more.
Almost ready for kickoff here in Nashville. SEMO and TSU on this gorgeous Saturday at Hale Stadium. The Hole, as they call it, the traditional home of TSU football. They split up their games between here and Nissan Stadium, and that guy is a mainstay in this program. Coach Rod Reed, his 10th season as head coach of the Tigers. He was the 3rd winningest coach in TSU history. Of course, his father, Robert, was an outstanding player here, and so was Rod during his playing days at Tennessee State. Rod Reed, familiar figure on the TSU campus. They got that big homecoming win 2 weeks ago against Austin Peay, 26-24. Stephen Newbold had a couple touchdown receptions and had that game winner with under 8 minutes to play. There's Cameron Rosendahl. We'll see him in just a moment, pulling the trigger at quarterback. And got that key interception by Josh Green in the end zone in the 4th quarter that wrapped up that win against the Governors. So back at it today and hoping for more success and hoping for a little better health. Tennessee State won the toss and will take the football. So we'll get started with SEMO kicking things off. Away we go. Chris Rowland right away gets a touch from the 7. They trick it up a bit. Return to the near side. And out of bounds near the 30. So Rowland very dangerous, but decided to pitch it off there, and it worked out okay.
Kind of a deception play on the opening kickoff, if you will. And this is the Tennessee State offense that still is emerging here in the latter part of the season. And Cameron Rosendahl is a fantastic story that will develop as the afternoon goes on.
They've actually been to Ron Johnson on that return and handoff. Garlington returned at 22 yards. Start things at the 29-yard line. There is Mr. Rosendahl. He is a very interesting story, as we'll talk about. Redshirt senior out of Ackworth, Georgia. Run on the first play of the day. The carry by DeKendrick Roberson. It'll be a short game with Josh Price on the stop out to the 32.
Rosendahl with 27 completions last time out against Austin Peay. That's a big number in terms of completions in a given game, and needed Anthony Zita's leg to win that game against the Governors, and that's what's made this game this afternoon very important for SEMO, because Austin Peay lost 2 weeks ago.
Rowland trying to find some room on the right. Will pick up a couple out to the 33-34 yard line. Bring up third down by Darius Knighton from the free safety spot to make the play. It's a really good defense for Southeast Missouri. Coming off a game that saw them force 5 turnovers against UT Martin, 3 picks and 3 sacks, blocked a field goal. That's TSU in a 3rd and 5 situation on the opening drive of the day.
And they've got to be enjoying the SEMO defense, got to be enjoying this fantastic weather, because the last 2 times out, they've beaten UT Martin and they've beaten Jacksonville State in driving rainstorms. And again, back to my point, defense is such a vital part of what SEMO is able to accomplish.
This will be stopped before it gets started. DeMarco Corbin got the handoff. That 3rd and 5 turns into 3rd and 10. Gets a little tougher. TSU on the season 42% on 3rd down.
And of this offense that we're looking at for Tennessee State, only 4 players have started every game. So we touched in the open and will continue throughout the game about the injuries that have plagued them. Injuries and turnovers, the 2 things coaches talk about preseason, have been the problem for Tennessee State this season.
They go 4 wide. Pass intended for Rowland is incomplete. Tennessee State will have to punt.
Rowland's contending on the outside with Darius Knighton, who had a fantastic game last week. Not the guy that got the big INT for the return, but Knighton has been generally the DB that you'll see from Southeast Missouri that will pick up the top receiver on the strong side for the opponent. No different then.
Caleb Mosley is into punt. Sophomore from Montgomery, Alabama, averages 43, a long of 64 on the season. The veteran Zach Smith back to return. They almost got there. Smith asks for the fair catch and makes it right around the 40-yard line. Could be some good starting field position for Southeast Missouri. Daniel Santa Catarina. There he is, the transfer from NIU. Redshirt senior out of Geneva, Illinois. First team all-conference last year and all-newcomer as well. 50% of his passes have been completions. You see that touchdown to interception ratio over 1,400 yards in the season. He went 9 of 21 for 127 last week. They decided to make a change and went with Joe Pyle, and it worked out okay. They got some things done on the ground and got that victory against UT Martin. But Coach Duke said that Santa, as he calls him, will be back delivering the football this week. An out and a completion. It's Zach Smith, the return man a moment ago, and has a catch out to the 44 on a 4-yard pickup on first down.
Now, Smith is an all-purpose player for SEMO. Not quite the level of the all-purpose player that Chris Rowland is for Tennessee State, but Santa Catarina has been fantastic since he arrived at SEMO, and a big difference in their recent surge.
Maybe a little out of sorts there, and that pass incomplete, sailed over the head of Aaron Alston, sophomore receiver out of Brighton, Tennessee. Nick Harper on the coverage. He's been really good this year. First in the OVC in passes defensed.
And he has started, Harper in that case, Kevin, has started all games so far for Tennessee State on a defense that's only seen 2 players start from start to today in that lineup. That's, again, you just can't stress that enough when it comes to the troubles that Tennessee State has had staying healthy.
Make for a tough season. On 3rd and 6, Santa Catarina squares the shoulders and got the completion. 3 defenders were there for Tennessee State, but he got it to Alston for the first down.
Boy, talk about triple coverage, as you mentioned, Kevin. On the outside, there's going to be actually a diamond of coverage as Santa Catarina lost it. And Alston goes up, and he's the biggest player among the secondary defenders right there, and goes up and snatches the football.
33-yard line, first down. The pitch carried to the outside, and that was first time today for Colby Cornett, junior out of Joplin, Missouri. Southeast Missouri will move the sticks, ball at the 20. A visit to the red zone on this opening trip for the Redhawks. Looking left all the way, over the middle, Wilkerson, the catch and the touchdown. He is their #1 target, Christian Wilkerson, senior from Memphis. Talk about a guy who's climbed up the charts in his school's history. He's done a lot of that, and that is his 7th touchdown reception of the season, 20-yarder.
33 catches on the season as well. And while that doesn't seem like to be a fantastic number that jumps out at you, 2 weeks ago when we had him, 2 of his 3 catches were for touchdowns. So Wilkerson is the big play guy for SEMO offensively, and comes through early on, and that's 60 quick yards up and down the field for SEMO.
Extra point attempt is no good. Reynolds couldn't connect. Check that make it Tiller, but Santa Catarina does as he gets to Wilkerson. 6-0.
Always popular Flo's Filet and the limited time 14-ounce Delmonico. That's how steak is done. Longhorn Steakhouse. You can't fake steak.
Well, Coach Tom Matukowicz and his Southeast Missouri Redhawks off to a good start here at TSU, leading 6-0. 20-yard touchdown reception by Christian Wilkerson. 6th year, Cape Girardeau for Coach Tuke, hired back in December of 2013. Gone 2-2 against Tennessee State during his tenure. Wins in 2014 and also last season, 38-21 the last time these teams met. Well, another kickoff, a second one of the day. Rowland going to bring it out of the end zone. Lost his footing and will be down just short of the 15-yard line. He is typically averaged 27 per return, but not that time. And it's going to be some tough starting field position for TSU down a touchdown.
A little surprised that tried not to kick to him, and this is an odd scene you'll just kind of want to put in the archive, because very infrequently do you see that out of the Chris Rowland. Cameron Rosendahl is a great story coming into this program, and as he's gotten healthier as the season has gone on, Rod Reed commented to us this week, so has Tennessee State gotten better in terms of production.
Said they took care of the football better, for one thing, against Austin Peay, and that made all the difference for him. Run on first down with Roberson trying to get to the edge. He'll be stopped for a loss back at the 10, and Josh Avery, with an outstanding defensive lineman for SEMO, getting over to make the play. They really have some experienced guys and get the job done.
Yeah, this front three of SEMO has been a concern all week long as Tennessee State's prepared. And they're big and they're hard to block. And in that case, when they get penetration, it's trouble for you offensively.
Avery back in his hometown, guy who played at Cane Ridge High School in the Nashville area. Rosendahl rolls out and drops it off. Catch for Phillip Brown, the tight end. Fall forward out to the 17. And another 3rd and long situation with Justin Swift, the all-conference linebacker, making the play.
Yeah, Zach Hall is one we called a number of times this season, and the Buck Buchanan Award winner. But Justin Swift had a fantastic week 2 weeks ago when we had this team, and last week at UT Martin as well. And one of the reasons why is he's a little bit of an undersized linebacker, Kevin, but he makes the tackle on the big tight end in the open field and creates the 3rd and long.
4 wide and a pretty tight formation for 3rd and 8. A short 8, a long 7, and they creep up some extras. Back him out. Rosendahl scrambles and drops it off, incomplete. Tennessee State will have to punt again.
In that case, I thought you would be looking for Newbold, trying to get the running back out of the backfield. And so far, 2 very poor offensive possessions for Tennessee State, and you have to believe that SEMO's defense has a little bit to do with that. And again, Zach Smith at about his 40, so they figure to get good starting field position out of this change of possession.
Caleb Mosley has had punts of 50 or more yards in each of the last 7 games. Guy who won Specialist of the Week in the OVC a couple weeks back in late September, actually. This will turn over, and Smith will field it at the 42, and good coverage for Tennessee State, with Kenyon Garlington back there to make the stop.
Smith looking into the sun just a bit and fielding that punt. And again, fantastic starting field position for SEMO. The Santa Catarina story last week, one of the issues in taking him out at halftime with SEMO trailing was just the conditions and the O-line that Tom Matukowicz has not been happy with and has been chirping about all week long. And it felt like Pyle gave them a better chance to run the football, and it worked.
Said we weren't blocking anybody. Counter with Mark Robinson. Success on first down with the run game. He'll pick up about 5 out to the 49. Bryant and Strotter on the tackle for Tennessee State from those linebacker spots.
And Robinson, you figure to have more carries this afternoon because Zion Custis, we believe, is not going to play. I'm trying to find him in street clothes on the sideline with a shoulder. And the SEMO folks warned us about midweek we may not see Custis. So you may see more Robinson, or you may see more of the misdirection you saw to Cornette earlier in the first possession.
Robinson gets another carry, located quickly. Jashawn Bryant in there to make the stop. Another Nashville guy, the sophomore. There is the Redhawks running back trio. Custis, Hassan, Robinson. And Bob, we talked about how they split up the carries, and its committee has worked out really well for Southeast Missouri.
Yeah, it has. And again, it's trimmed a little bit today, we expect, without Custis in there. But that's getting it done, too. And then, again, as we talked about in the open, when they've needed to make a play offensively to complement this fantastic defense, they've been able to do just that. And that's why they've been so successful 3-1 in the conference coming in.
3rd and 5. They were successful on 3rd down in their first series. But this will be a stop for Tennessee State. Robinson got the reception, will be a couple yards short.
And Jashawn Bryant with a nice open field tackle in the outside. And he stops that. So I bragged about Swift earlier stopping the big receiver. Give Jashawn credit right here. He's going to come up and make a solo tackle and really stop him right in his tracks and easily prevent the first down.
Jake Reynolds, the punter, 40 average along of 53. Punted 8 times last week and average right at 40 yards. Rolling ready. He's kind of a tough running catch at the 19. Some room in the open field. Rowland. The punter got over to get him and maybe prevent a touchdown, but there are flags down at around the 32.
You know, Rowland, the way the ball was kicked, you would have thought he would have gone to his left, and from our vantage point when we're watching it, not the case at all. And it's a shame this is going to come back. That's just a big shift in field position because, again, the trajectory of the ball carried Rowland to his left, and he caught it on the dead spot and turned on a dime around the right side, and that might have been where that illegal block happened.
So instead of terrific field position, it's all the way back at the 17, similar to where Tennessee State was to open its last series.
And that's it. That's close to shoulder there, but nonetheless, it may have been elsewhere. But talk about having the ball in the opponent's end of the 50, and then again, starting field position at your own 15. That's a big lick.
So that difference in field position after what would have been a nice return for Rowland is wiped off. 8 minutes to play, first quarter. Southeast Missouri drove down and scored on its opening trip. But since then, now the official's going to have a little conversation before TSU starts this series.
Like some of the chain gang across the way, the yard markers perhaps damaged. Yep, trying to repair that.
Yeah, I think they got tangled up when Rowland was tackled by Reynolds, the punter.
I'm going to say look for Stephen Newbold in this possession. We started to in the last possession, but I think it's a great opportunity for him.
I think they have the chains fixed. It looks like they're stretching out 10 yards, which is the important part, right? 17-yard line for Cameron Rosendahl.
And no more than 10.
And no less than 10 either. We'll keep it on the ground on first down.
I just don't think long-term the solution is to try and run the ball in the middle of this line with Thornton, Richardson, and Price up front.
The carry was by DeMarco Corbin. He's a Texas native. 6 carries for 20 yards last week, I should say, as 3 touchdowns rushing, and tackled by Bryant Pirtle. Pickup of 2. Rowland sprinting to the edge. Not much. Out of bounds just the side of the 20-yard line. Pirtle again on the pursuit.
Short side of the field for Rowland. Let's see where they spot the ball. That may even determine your play calling to some extent, being able to find some avenues for him. So another third down situation here for Tennessee State. On the season, they're 42%, which is kind of on average, a higher than expected number. But look at this formation you're going to get from SEMO. They're going to bring 7 up in the box and drop 4. And Knighton is going to patrol right the middle of the field in that free safety position.
Rolling a new bowl, lined up to the left side. They throw right. The pass is caught. A completion to Deron Johnson. Young man out of Springfield, Tennessee, a freshman. His 5th catch of the season.
Yeah, nice scheme there to put Roland a new bowl at the bottom of the formation and throw right side, short side of the field. And they get the local guy, as you mentioned, from nearby Springfield, Tennessee, place we know well.
He was calling Fat Cat when he played for Springfield. Went to a state championship game. So first down, and the first 3rd down conversion of the day for Tennessee State. Carry for Roberson. Ball came loose. We'll see if Tennessee State had one of those turnovers Rod Reed was talking about. SEMO says we got the football. Let's see.
Well, this is going to be really close because I believe the tackler was between the turf and the ball carrier, and the ball came out at that point in time.
See if we can get a look. That looked like a fumble.
Oh, that's my point. No part of his body, I believe, was on the ground in this situation. Let's see.
Yeah, Zach Hall was there to strip it away. It looked like Josh Avery recovered. They'll get a look. We'll be back with a decision in just a moment. Southeast Missouri up a touchdown. They have the ball. We want the latest news in the OVC's 19 sports and championships. Go to OVCsports.com. You'll find all the info you need, stats and standings, everything else on all the conferences, teams. OVCsports.com, your home for all things OVC. Well, we had a fumble before the review that took us to the break. This was carried by Kendrick Roberson. And it sure looked like Zach Hall knocked it loose, and the recovery by Southeast Missouri with Josh Avery. And it's going to be SEMO football after the first turnover of the day, and it's committed by Tennessee State. Rod Reed talked about he can't turn over the football. That's something that did better against Austin Peay, but a giveaway here early gives SEMO the football in plus territory, up a touchdown. The carry by Geno Hess, his first touch. Right him out of bounds inside the 40 with Terry Strotter over there on the edge. There is SEMO, Bob. They have made it happen all season with this defense. That's top 25 in the country, plus 6 in turnovers.
Yeah, that wins championships because the offense is not a wide open type of attack, so your probability of turnovers involved in that offense is low, so that's why that margin remains where it is.
It is Smith. He has spun out at around the 13. The veteran receiver from Louisville, Zach Smith, came in with 11 catches for 49 yards and has another trip to the red zone as Hollis was over there for Tennessee State.
Louisville and Memphis are 2 recruiting hotbeds, if you will, for SEMO, and geographically that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Maybe a little bit more than Memphis bit, but they've got a lot of players on this roster from those 2 cities.
Santa Catarina will tuck and run, and will have it down to the 3-yard line.
How about Santa Catarina not wanting to take a slide there, Kevin? He's going to go, and thought he had a little bit more of space than he did ultimately, and thought he could get in the end zone.
10-yard gain for number 10 and first and goal. Redhawks trying to make it a 2-score advantage early. A run with Hess. TSU tightening up defensively. Bryant's been all over the place so far.
He's been a solid one up front. 6'2", 230, the sophomore. And he's coming off a 9-tackle performance against Austin Peay 2 weeks ago, and has been emerging with Green in the secondary. Another one that's been emerging in this Tennessee State defense.
Johnson Bryant made that tackle for a 2-yard loss back to the 5, second and goal. Shift those tight ends over to the left side. Cut back. Not happening. Hess. Bryant one more time.
Yeah, to your point, Kevin, they bought tight to the left side, tried to run to the right, and Hess kind of abandoned that run right away. trying to cut back. And I thought for a moment he had a little bit of an avenue there. See the shift. He wants to go right with it, but instead it's going to come right back to the strong side of the formation. And again, Bryant there for the tackle.
Green got that first contact from that free safety spot. Flag.
Here's one of the rare penalties you're going to see on Kristen Wilkerson.
Referee today, David Sewer. There is Wilkerson, had a 20-yard touchdown reception earlier in this quarter to open the scoring today. Senior from Memphis. He was OVC Player of the Week a couple weeks back, had the big 80-yard touchdown reception. They have SEMO on its way to a rare win against Jacksonville State. Back to the 10 for 3rd and goal. Santa Catarina looking his direction again. Wilkerson incomplete. We'll see if SEMO. Well, there's flags coming in at the end of the play. We'll see what this means.
Now this is a much maligned offensive line. I'm going to see if this is on the protection side or after the whistle blows against defensively Tennessee State. If that's the case, it's going to be Jeremiah Kane, the guilty party. And they try to throw it in the back of the end zone. And again, double coverage. Wilkerson's more than likely to draw that, especially in a short field. And that's the kind of defense Tennessee State provided right there. And Wilkerson still was above the defender, just could not bring it in. But if this is an after the whistle dead ball penalty, it's going to be a big one against Tennessee State.
Official still conferring. So personal fouls against each side. Coach Rod Reed asking for an explanation.
The question is where they're going to spot the football as a result of this.
It's spotted at the 19, so it will be 3rd and goal from just inside the 20-yard line.
I have to admit I was looking at the intended pass to Wilkerson in the end zone and missed the dead ball part of it. Back to the offensive line. As we mentioned, much maligned this week by Tom Matukowicz. He's not real happy with their play. And in fact, I'm told that some individual meetings with them to try and improve their play. And that's not necessarily a result of the roughing the passer. That's clearly a situation where the defense decided to continue to play. But he's still upset by the fact that they got to Santa Catarina. I mean, you could just see the difference in this football program since Santa Catarina arrived. You know, for seasons we would follow them. The defense was solid, but they just could never get over the hump offensively. He's been the difference the last 2 seasons.
It's actually 1st and 10 from the 19 after the penalties. They sort it all out. Alston pursued by Josh Green. And it'll be a loss of 2 back to the 21. So this scoring opportunity for Southeast Missouri has gone in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that looks a lot like the play they tried to run earlier with Cornette. So now I'm going to watch Alston line up on the line of scrimmage tight. Now they're going to bring him back across the formation and flood to left side.
Wide side of the field with a lot of options, but they're covered. Santa Catarina, we've seen him do this before. Bryant makes the tackle at the 16 for a pickup of 5. And another 3rd down coming up.
Excuse me, Kevin. Bryant's got a bushel basket of tackles here in the first quarter, and that time he got to the quarterback. Catarina wanted to throw in the flat or faked in the flat to Alston and tried to draw the defense, but not the case in. And we're going to try and throw the deep ball along the left seam.
Third and 7. Couple minutes left, quarter number 1. Well protected. Over the middle, behind his intended receiver. That was Colby Cornette, incomplete.
There's Bryant again with the coverage, but it was a bad pass. A little bit of pressure there for Santa Catarina. And boy, Bryant almost come up with an interception there.
Is there more than 111 on the field for TSU? Kind of seems that way, doesn't it?
That would have been a cap run, a great quarter had he been able to haul in that INT.
You had Ja'Kai Baker, the left tackle, was shaken up at the end of the play. He's helped off, and we'll get about a 34-yard field goal attempt for Kendrick Tiller. Missed an extra point earlier in the quarter. 6 of 9 on field goal tries in the year. Plenty of leg along a 55.
Tiller hit the first one out the upright, as you mentioned, on the extra point, and then also had an extra point that was good this season after hitting both uprights and falling through.
It hit everything. Triple doink, but it made it.
It's all there. I use all of it.
Trying to stake Southeast Missouri to a 9-0 lead. And this kick is good. So the attempt by Tiller makes it 9-0. Tennessee State has to feel like that's a win. Under 2 to play. First quarter in Nashville.
They'll try and stop you every step of the way. They've torn us apart, fractured our society, and the only way to save it is in my hands. My name is Sam Porter Bridges. It's my job to reconnect us.
PlayStation.
Having fun here in Nashville. Watch your favorite OVC teams on ESPN Plus, the conference's exclusive streaming home. You can stream up to 52 OVC football games and over 600 total events throughout the athletic year. Don't miss any of the action. Start your free trial today. ESPNplus.com. Basketball cranks up next week. We'll have all kinds of games for you. Tennessee State and Southeast Missouri. SEMO leading 9-0. Kendrick Tiller connecting from 33. Tennessee State's defense tightening up when had a chance to be a 2-touchdown lead for Southeast Missouri. The dangerous Chris Rowland in the open field and will be out of bounds around the 40. He can really change the field position in a hurry. He had a big one called back earlier for a penalty, but this time it'll stick and it'll be some good starting field position for TSU at the 40-yard line.
Watch the blocking to the left. There's going to be 3. It's not a wedge, but see the wall he's got right in front of them there with the big guys out blocking. And I continue to be amazed that teams continue to kick to Chris Rowland.
He is first in all-purpose yardage per game at over 200. Among the OVC and national leaders in several different categories. Mark him just short of the 40 at the 38, and a procedure call against TSU, and these penalties have been tough for the Tigers so far.
Yeah, 1st and 15, it's real easy to say how bad that is in terms of starting out, but this is a offense that has not crossed midfield in the first quarter. And they're not getting it done, as the old saying goes, on first down, which is really affecting that. And they've tried to run up the middle a couple of times on first down, not able to get it done there. And now they find themselves 1st and 15.
Playing behind the chains. Sean McCauley got the football, located for a loss. Back at the 31, Derek Calhoun Jr., sophomore from St. Louis.
Calhoun tracked that down from the backside and made that tackle. And as you go through this, you're just going to pick up a different player, it seems like, each and every week. And maybe Calhoun is that guy as well. SEMO's gotten played defensively in all areas that have been really solid, to include the D-line.
McCauley gets another tote. Short gain to the 33. So Rashawn McCauley for Southeast Missouri, among others. So now 3rd and long for Tennessee State.
You just really feel the impact of that penalty, that pre-snap penalty on first down, when you take a look at where they are right now. And yes, they've got the weapons, but look at this alignment. Again, they're going to bring 7 in the box, is SEMO. Now let's see if they adjust with the checkoff, and they're going to do that right now. Now watch Hall come on the outside, and he's actually going to pick up in coverage. They're all everything linebacker.
TSU puts his 2 best receivers on the wide side of the field. Instead, they throw short middle. Completion to McCauley, stacked up, and
look at how many white jerseys are around that.
Pretty much all of them out at the 40-yard line. They'll give him progress to the 40, but 4th down. And Zach Hall and Justin Swift, those seniors, we talk about them a whole lot. And in on another defensive stop for SEMO. They'll get the football back as may not see the punt before the quarter runs out.
You know, the SEMO defense, before we get to the break, is just a perfect blend, in my opinion, of athleticism and scheme. Now, these linebackers aren't super big guys, but they run the field so well.
Southeast Missouri, contender in OVC play, leading 9-0. We played 15 minutes in Nashville, and they'll get the football when we come back.
It's my job to reconnect us.
PlayStation.
Fantastic day here in Nashville. First Saturday in November. Southeast Missouri leading TSU 9-0. 20-yard touchdown reception by Christian Wilkerson and a 33-yard field goal by Kendrick Tiller. Redhawks at 3-1. Tennessee State off its first conference victory of the season last time out. Roderick Smith, the punter this time, and the fair catch made by Zach Smith around the 23. And a flag back out near midfield. He had a little jawing and maybe some pushing and shoving going on at the backside of the play.
Although we've only played one complete quarter, you kind of get the feeling, I'll wait on the indication here, that SEMO maybe could even put a lot of space between themselves and Tennessee State right here.
Sportsmanlike calls on both sides. There you see it at the top of the screen. There's Garlington in there, and he has Trey Hodges and Jonte Dobson.
2 white shirts, 1 blue shirt. Probability there is you're going to get the penalty if you're SEMO, and that's exactly what happened. I was making a comment, they'll take a long drive to put some more points on the board. You just get a feeling that SEMO's in total control of this football game right here, right now.
It's the worst starting field position of the 12. Santa Catarina, some pressure from the back. Passing complete, looking for Hess out of the backfield.
And while we did put a timer on it, that was adequate protection for Santa Catarina, and he had to make a very quick throw in that spot. But
it was Emmanuel Olinga. Young man from Charlotte, started out at South Carolina. 6 games, 2.5 tackles for loss coming in. 2nd and 10. A screen. Get it to Wilkerson. Had that touchdown reception earlier. Flag.
There's a target, Kevin.
And after a 5-yard pickup, we'll see if they get some more.
Yeah, that's gonna need to be reviewed. And that's going to be the purpose of this penalty right here on Josh Green.
That is the call. So we're going to watch the end of the play as Wilkerson. Garlington made the stop, and then at the end, Josh Green. Watch number 19.
Remember those commercials for an insurance company? You make the call.
Yeah.
That was pretty self-explanatory here. I just have to take a look at that one right there. That may be the end of the day for Josh Green.
Well, the football's been spotted at the 32, and we'll see after the review. There is what they're looking at in terms of targeting. The forcible hit by the crown of the helmet, I would think that's part of what they're looking at right here, and it's either confirmed or overturned. So while the review is in progress, teams will huddle up over near their respective sidelines. Southeast Missouri team half game out of first in the OVC with those group of teams with four of them with 1 loss. UT Martin leading by a half game, but Southeast Missouri got them last week. UT Martin at 4-1, Austin Peay, Eastern Kentucky, SEMO all at 3-1. Close games. SEMO's being able to win 3 out of the 4, all decided by a touchdown or less. Tennessee State coming off that big win against Austin Peay over Nissan Stadium last time out.
And some separation type games today as well. I see Wilkerson trying to stretch out what he can.
He was down.
Leading with the helmet, the crown of the helmet. We saw all that in the graphic just a moment ago. And also the launch part of it, excuse me, Kevin, the launch part of it is a big part as well.
Yeah. Green and been a guy who's really come on for this TSU team. He was OVC newcomer of the week after that win over Austin Peay. Had that big interception. We'll see if his day continues or if Rod Reed starting free safety will have to head to the locker room after this. Coach Reed saying his defense really improved. They played a lot of young guys due to injuries, and Josh Green had been a real plus for him. Those injuries had given him a chance to play. He wasn't really all the way schooled on playing the safety position. He'd been a corner.
Here's another look from field level they're taking a look at.
It's really kind of that level, I think, of view may have been the best one. Waiting to get the announcement from the official, referee David Sewer.
Give him the field mic, is what they're waiting on doing right now. Disqualification.
So it is the end of the day for Josh Green. I mean, Ronnie Killings will move up into that safety spot. Maybe slide over Larry Woolhoyd as the other listed safety.
So they had him stopped on third down. That's an important element to talk about in this sequence here with the ejection is he was stopped on third down. Or Simo rather was stopped on third down, and then the disqualification of Green.
Meanwhile, back to work. First down from the 32, and positive work for Geno Hess. Killings over to make the stop.
Boy, Zach Smith on the outside with just a shadow block of sorts. A big part of that run, too.
They're using Dejour Nesbeth in the safety spot now. So a first down out to the 48. The opening minute, quarter number 2, and Southeast Missouri up 9-0. Give to Robinson. Or check that, that's Hess again. Dante Ferguson from the defensive end spot. Also Rashawn Epting. We've seen Geno Hess get the most totes so far. As his 5th carry of the day. Pickup of 2, 2nd and 8, right at midfield.
You know, Epting has been a big part of this defense for Tennessee State, too. A transfer from New Mexico and second leading tackler. And the first time we called his name, it was all Bryant in the first half.
Santa Catarina winds up and fires. It is completion inside the 25. Colby Cornett making another catch. Nick Harper brings him down, but positive drive continuing for Southeast Missouri.
Boy, nice scheme for Cornett to find an opening on the outside, but Santa Catarina takes a hit here toward the end as well. This is what gets Tom Matukowicz a bit upset there, but that's a nice job then by Cornett, finding a little bit of that gap. They were indeed going zone defense after the departure of Green, and Asimo knocking on the door again.
27-yard gain. Smith turns and goes. Flag at the end. Penalties been big in this opening half. They'll spot the football at the 14.
And 2 receivers out blocking, and I don't know if that's anybody's guess which way this one's going to go.
Hold called on Southeast Missouri.
It's going to be one of those 2 receivers on the outside blocking. And one of the things about Santa Catarina is he throws the ball all over the yard. He's not a deep ball guy. When you need that out of him, he can give that to you. Throw the medium. Just finished a 27-yard completion. And then a lot of their game absent an explosive running game, it's been a running game by committee, is those quick outs that they throw to Smith and Cornett and try and treat that as if that's a run play in and of itself.
Wilkerson in motion. Santa Catarina sends it over the middle instead. The completion to Austin. Epting on the tackle. It'll be a pickup of 4. Actually, it'll be a pickup of more than that. It'll be down to the 19.
It gets that penalty yardage back out. And second and medium. They're just in control of this football game, no matter the personnel, the Tennessee State, or the scheme they put forward. But Santa Catarina can just take control of the game, and he's doing just that. And they got to be loving they're playing in great field conditions.
Again, shoots it to the outside. Wilkerson breaks a tackle and forced out. Got the first down, and he will be out of bounds around the 9 with first and goal coming up. Terry Strotter on the stop.
So here's the difference. Garlington does not make the tackle one-on-one defensively against Wilkerson, and you rarely see that from the DBs of Southeast Missouri. They're able to wrap up those receivers very quickly and tackle well in the open field.
First and goal. Santa Catarina looks to the sideline to get the receivers sent where they want them. They look to counter with Hess. TSU sniffs it out. He was able to get it down to the 4-yard line on a 5-yard gain as Epting made the stop. Thought that was going to be a stop for a loss at first.
It looked like it immediately at the line of scrimmage, and then Hess just able to bounce outside. And that's a very good individual play. It took Epting with him for a couple of yards. And while that may not seem like a lot, when you're inside the 10 and you pick up an extra 2 on second effort, that's a big deal.
Second and goal, 4-yard line. Redhawks trying to take control. Tennessee State has earlier in the half been able to get a stop in this situation. It's Justin Culpepper. Emmanuel Olenga in on another play. Culpepper, the senior out of Lakeland, Florida, guy who's been around this program a long time. Coming in with 21 stops. The sack.
See, this is where this offensive line is kind of highlighted, right? They weren't able to get the push on Olenga. They weren't able to pick up Epting from the secondary to make the tackle. And this is where Tuke is very upset. Tom Matukowicz is very upset about their play. You got to get the push here because your field is shrunk. You got to be able to run the football.
It's a loss of 1 to the 5. Third down. Santa Catarina. Flag. And we'll throw it out of the end zone, incomplete. This may make the job even tougher for Southeast Missouri. Give me another hold or see if TSU takes a play. That might be the best thing to do.
So your inability to run the football on second down and first down for that matter. See, Santa Catarina will just leak out to the right. Right there is the hold. I thought maybe they get an opportunity for an offsetting penalty with the potential interference in the end zone, but not the case there. And you can just see inability to run the football on first and second down inside their own 15 leads to this field goal attempt.
22 yards. Kendrick Tiller connected from 33. That'll make it 12-0. Got it through there somehow. So Tiller 2 for 2 on field goal tries. 9.5 to play in the first half. 12-0 the count with SEMO in front. Well, it's a 12-0 advantage for Southeast Missouri. There was the field goal by Kendrick Tiller. It was partially blocked. It looked like Emmanuel Olenga got a hand up and got a piece of it, but snuck it through to cap an 11-play, 72-yard drive. Took just over 5 minutes. But again, Tennessee State keeping SEMO out of the end zone. They've been able to tighten up when they've needed to, and this time on the kickoff, they'll stay away from Chris Rowland, and a catch at the 36. Well, this year marks the 150th anniversary of the first college football game back in 1869. We've been celebrating throughout the year, and this week we highlight for Southeast Missouri receiver Willie Ponder. He played 2 seasons in 01 and 02 and set a whole bunch of school records, including career receiving yards over 2,500, receptions per game at 6.8, and held the all-time receiving touchdowns record until 2015. Drafted in the 6th round by the Giants back in 2003 and led the NFL with a 26.9 kickoff return average back in 04. Back to work for TSU, trying to get something positive going on offense. Chris Rowland with the reception and a 3-yard gain to the 39.
To your point, only 8 yards rushing so far in a quarter and a half for Tennessee State, 31 through the air. And while it doesn't necessarily need to be the Chris Rowland, Stephen Newbold show, they've got to get something going to generate offense. It opens up opportunities so that they're not receiving double coverage.
Newbold without a catch so far. Rowland, the intended receiver, slides and incomplete. Right at midfield would have been a first down. So 3rd down on the way, 3rd and 7 for a TSU offense that has gone 1 for 4 so far.
Averaging 26 points a game is this offense, and you know, we've honed in a lot on the Austin Peay win 2 weeks ago, but before that they had a 6-game losing streak after winning their opener against Mississippi Valley. And injuries and all of that aside, you've got to be able to score maybe in this league more than 26, especially against a team that has a stout defense like SEMO.
Pocket collapses and they get to Rosendahl for the sack. All the way back inside the 35. Bryant Pirtle coming in with 4 sacks, and add some more to that total. Utah transfer, another of those players from Louisville.
We talked to Tom Matukowicz earlier this week. He said the injuries have impacted the linebacker core. He's made some shifts here, but one of the solid, steady ones all season long has been Pirtle, and well, you'd like to see that defensively. Thornton trying to rip the ball loose while Pirtle's making the tackle.
Pirtle with that rush linebacker spot where Margic Douglas has also excelled. And over in punt. Fielded by Smith, but he stepped out of bounds. They'll mark him at the 35 after the punt by Roderick Smith. SEMO leading.
Come and find me. PlayStation.
Well, after a 37-yard punt by Caleb Mosley, Southeast Missouri will have the football at the 35, holding a 12-0 lead. 8:04 to play, first half. Santa Catarina to Wilkerson for a 20-yard touchdown to start the day, and then 2 field goals by Kendrick Tiller since then. Completion for a short gain to Christian Wilkerson. Nick Harper on the coverage for Wilkerson, his 4th reception today. Talk about a guy who's rewriting record books. We look at where all Wilkerson ranks, 2nd in SEMO history in receptions, also in receiving touchdowns. And he's actually moved up into 1st place in both with his work already today. 2nd and 8.
Nearing 3,000 yards in career receptions.
Give is to Robinson. We saw him early in the game. It's been a whole lot of Geno Hess since then. Jocelyn Bryant had a half-dozen tackles in the first quarter. Had a little more to that total with a pickup of 1.
And I'm very curious as to what Tennessee State will do defensively here. Will they rush Santa Catarina? Will they give a stunt look or just something different to kind of refresh that? Because so far it's just been straight up. But keep in mind, we've already had a disqualification in the secondary there as well. So let's see, they're showing something up the middle. Now they're backing it off again with Bryant.
And you saw Josh Green leave after the targeting call, coming back to get the football. Aaron Alston's had a good day. He'll have a first down, a 3rd down conversion for Southeast Missouri, and down at the 41.
Well, he totally turned around the defensive back to come back for the football. When he makes the catch, he's going to be 3 to 5 yards in the clear. See, Bryant is kind of bird dogging Santa Catarina in the middle. Look how wide open he is on the outside.
All day to throw here. Goes back and forth as Alston and Nick Harper battled along the sideline. Incomplete.
Yeah, Harper kind of redeemed himself. He was the defensive back I was critical of a play earlier for leaving the receiver that wide open. So that's a nice play then on the outside in single coverage.
Throw in his direction. A guy who has 12 pass breakups and an interception on the season. 2nd and 10, 41-yard line. About 6 to play, quarter number 2. Wilkerson on the screen. Will get it to the 34 and bring up 3rd and 3. Tackled by Terry Strotter.
Strotter's got it's coming on defensively for Tennessee State as well. And Santa Catarina's throwing to 6 different receivers so far here in the first half. He's got to spread it around, and it's not all Wilkerson in this case. Obviously, you want to keep your eye on him here in this 3rd and 4 situation. And again, I'm curious as to what Tennessee State, giving a different look defensively this time, what they'll come with if pressure.
3 receivers to the wide side. It's a run for Santa Catarina. 1st down and a bunch more at the 15. And we'll set up 1st and goal. Harper arrives to make the stop, but Santa Catarina shown he's got some wheels.
Are you kidding me with this play call? Tennessee State defensively will stack man-to-man coverage on the top side of your screen. You're barely going to see it here from this one. And this is a design play for the quarterback. And he may become their leading rusher. Out to check the numbers on that play alone. Outstanding play by your senior transfer quarterback.
1st and goal from the 10. Number 10 wings it out incomplete. That one's short for Wilkerson on the rollout. Santa Catarina has rushed 3 times for 34 yards today.
Pretty good average. And when you think about it, you recall the last time SEMO was at this end of the field, how they were unsuccessful running the football on 1st and 2nd down. And immediately in this possession, they throw the football on 1st down.
Yeah, when the field is shortened up, TSU's been able to hold them to field goals. Santa Catarina got 24 of them. That one run a moment ago. Spin, Robinson will get about 4 to the 6. Culpepper and Alenga. Epting there too.
That's a nice spin move by Hess to pick up some additional yardage, because as we all know, it's hard to come by in that spot. So this, to me, I'm most curious about this 3rd down call, as I have been all game long so far. Because again, your field is limited for a predominantly throwing football team. What do you do in this? Hey, maybe you dial up Santa Catarina's number again.
Instead, he'll dial up Colby Cornett, and he'll dial up a pass. Hauled in, incomplete. Aaron Alston saying, I got it.
Well, talk about creative play calling, and we've seen that in this sequence here for SEMO. And see how close it is in the back. Probably from this view, we're not going to see if the reception was made. Let's take a look.
Stop in the
toss. I don't know. I didn't see a lot of ball on turf.
It looked pretty close. And as SEMO lined up for the field goal, stoppage in play.
It's a situation where you go back and look at it again during the timeout, and that's the reason why it was called in that situation.
So SEMO's going to challenge, it looks like. 4:10 to play, 2nd quarter, Southeast Missouri.
Come and find me. PlayStation.
Well, the call stood of incomplete on the Colby Cornett pass to Aaron Alston, so we'll get a Kendrick Tiller field goal attempt from 23 yards. It was very close to being a touchdown, but instead, Southeast Missouri once again will have to settle for the 3. TSU got a piece of the last one. This time, free and clear on the field goal attempt that is good from 23. So that makes it 15-0. Let's go back to the play. And, Bob, it was very close when you look at Alston and had that ball kind of trapped against his body, but it looked like he went out of bounds before he really had it.
And what's the old saying? There's a lot to unpack here. Well, possession is a question. The more I look at it, the more that maybe the nose of the football not only being out of bounds, which is the overriding matter in this situation, but when you look at it from that angle, you don't see any football hit the turf. But had it been a better pass, we haven't addressed that issue too. Had it been a better pass, you know, just the overriding theme I think this first half is that SEMO has had to settle for field goals when they had opportunities. They really delivered somewhat of a knockout blow, in my opinion, with touchdowns.
It's really kept Tennessee State in this game. You figure if they score touchdowns and say 2 out of those 3, it's a different looking score for sure. 15-0 though. They're staying away from Chris Rowland. SEMO trying to keep it in bounds. I don't think they did so. They had Robert Hatchett racing in there to try to grab it.
Well, they also had an opportunity there to recover.
Yeah, to recover. That's exactly right.
Is a live ball after 10 yards, and you know. So finally, they listened to me. I said, "Quit kicking the ball to Rowland, right?" And we forget that he had one outstanding return after a penalty.
Well, you can connect with the OVC on social media. Exclusive photos, videos, and news from around the conference. Follow the OVC. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all those available. Keep up with the league. Yeah, that would have been some recovery on a pop-up kick. TSU was kind of content to let it go out of bounds. SEMO kind of trying to come down and make a play.
Well, it's almost a 2-for-1 in that situation because you're trying to keep the ball away from Rowland, mission accomplished, and you almost had Tennessee State napping of sorts and had an opportunity to recover when it amounted to an onside kick.
For TSU, you got to start getting the ball to your main playmakers. It may have been a first carry for Sabri Curtis.
Glad to see him coming back.
Maybe not. Yeah, it was. It was. Check that. Seth Rowland, I should say, 22. He is Chris's brother. He's a senior from Brentwood. Short gain of 2. And Rowland will get the call again. Zach Hall in there on the tackle, but some positive yardage for Tennessee State. They push it inside SEMO territory. A little slow getting up. Thomas Burton, veteran center.
Only 37 yards passing here first half for Rosendahl and Tennessee State. So you got to convert here, or if you're SEMO, you may start taking some timeouts. Well, this is just a veteran. Look at this defense. They're not shifting around a lot. They're not looking to the sideline. That's a veteran defense that knows exactly where their assignments are. So let's play football.
Rosendahl on 3rd and 4. Middle of the field, and it is intercepted. That veteran defense makes another play. One of the things they do best is cause turnovers. Marcus Lucas, his second INT of the season.
Throwing with plenty of time. That's the thing here until Thornton comes in from the outside. But Rosendahl with a lot of time and just throws high across the middle to Newbold. And that's a big turnover. Now I think you're in a situation where you're SEMO and where you're Tennessee State defensively. You need to be on guard for the long ball right here. Those quick turnarounds that we always talk about.
Yeah, it's always a good spot to go for something big right after a change of possession. Send Crump to the other side. TSU got some positive things done on the ground, but the interception, this will be behind Alston and complete. Coach Rod Reed asking for a penalty on this near sideline.
Yeah, it looked like Alston may have pushed off. And the pass was intended to be short and a comebacker of sorts, but it was way too short, and Alston trying to get back to the football may very well have pushed off.
There was a little separation. The catch was well out of bounds. 2nd and 10.
I was going to say, talk about being late and being wide. Pretty much describes that throw then by Santa Catarina.
33-yard line for Southeast Missouri. A 2-score lead. Rolling to the final stages of this first half. Christian Wilkerson has the only touchdown of the day and has the reception there. Be about a yard short with Rashawn Epting.
You know, the thing that jumps out about me is you've got 7-8 weeks games worth of tape to look at defensively. You've seen this look several times with a quick out to Wilkerson, and you still can't defend it. It's still a decent yardage there. It's got you to 8 on second down and put you within striking distance here. And you just seem defensively, and it's not only Tennessee State defensively, it just seems like teams are not able to defend that as they should be able to.
3rd and 1. The carry by Robinson will have the first down to the 45. Bryant continues to stack up the tackles, but SEMO will move the sticks with 2 minutes left.
So now you're thinking about needing to pick up your pace if you're SEMO. Now you're officially, in terms of the clock, in that 2-minute offense. So maybe the long ball or even the medium ball here on first down to get yourself within striking distance for Tiller yet again. But again, back to your point, Kevin, field goals versus touchdowns. Commentators talk about it all the time, but that's been the case here for SEMO in the first half. And boy, they could really deliver what feels like a knockout blow here if they're able to put 6 on the board.
They've been able to get the red zone visits, but not the touchdowns. Santa Catarina avoided a huge loss. Might have been better off throwing that one away. Crump made the catch all the way up at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, this is bad protection for Santa Catarina.
Yeah, Teray Jones was back there quick, wasn't he?
Yeah. That big guy's tracking you down, and to your point, it's going to go in the books as a negative 5-yard pass completion.
So 2nd and 15 after Santa Catarina found Crump. There's Jones, 6'1" and 305, a freshman out of Madison, Florida.
With speed.
So the ability to run a little. He's back there again. Santa Catarina escapes. He'll actually gain 6 yards in the play to the 46, out of bounds with 1:15.
Boy, he has been fantastic this afternoon, avoiding sacks. And from an O-line perspective and a coaching perspective, you don't like to see this from your O-line, but take a look at this. Remember the big run earlier to set up an end goal situation, and this time he gets positive yardage when it looks like that play was doomed from the outset.
Olinga was there in a hurry, so was Jones. 3rd and 9. Jones tripped up. The outside, Santa Catarina. Was it a catch? Eric Williams, his first reception of the day is a big one. They'll move the sticks to the 38. Epting and Killings were there. Eric Williams, his 6th reception of the season. That puts him over 100.
Go. Like 7-1 for Tennessee State defensively. And Santa Catarina's going to throw in a lot of traffic, but they're just right there. But the receiver goes and gets the football in that case, and that's the difference. First down, SEMO.
Williams just stepped in front of him. Guy who played a whole lot on special teams last year, redshirt senior from St. Louis. You see the 15-0 score inside the final minute. First half here in Nashville, around the OVC today. Austin Peay and EKU up in Richmond. The Governors got it done in overtime. They hand Eastern Kentucky a second loss. Austin Peay remains with only 1 defeat. Tennessee Tech leading at Murray, and Jacksonville State and UT Martin. That's a good one to watch with about 5 minutes left in the second quarter of play.
Everything on the left side of your screen is going to impact the top 4 of this conference. And Austin Peay continues to roll their lone conference loss. Jacksonville State and UT Martin. I kind of pin that as an elimination type game. You have to feel that way as well. UT Martin and Austin Peay will play next week in Clarksville. Austin Peay's homecoming. Talk about an HUGE game in this conference. That'll be one next week.
A 15-yard gain has Southeast Missouri with a first down at the 38. Last minute of this first half. Short drop off to Robinson. They'll stop the clock for the first down at the 15.
What about the push pass by Santa Catarina in that situation? He is just owning this defense right now, Kevin.
But this is the spot where they've had trouble, these short fields. Deep ball for Wilkerson. Couldn't pull it down, incomplete. 39 ticks.
That'll be a situation. They'll come back to that one as well, waiting on the injured Tennessee State player that was covering Wilkerson.
And that was for TSU, Vondran Hollis. Freshman defensive back. They take a look at him right near the goal line. Hollis was there, so was Ronnie Killings. Mentioned earlier, they lost Josh Green to a targeting call back earlier in the half. Each team with 2 timeouts left, and we got 39 seconds left, and Hollis will be helped to the sideline.
Boy, Santa Catarina, 185 yards passing so far here in the first half. So average that out during the game, that's a little bit more than normal, but they have just really owned this Tennessee State defense. And you know, we talked about how well Bryant played defensively and how he showed up a number of times for Tennessee State in the first quarter. Not the case here, and I kind of sense defensively, he's there he is right in the middle of your screen there, 11. Kind of watching Santa Catarina like we saw maybe a couple weeks ago with Zach Hall at Jacksonville State, but got a little blitz, a little pressure right now.
9th play of the drive is a near interception. You had 2 players there for TSU. Garlington couldn't pull it in. I think if either one of them, Garlington or Nesbeth, had been by himself, he would have been able to make the play.
And no doubt the worst pass of the afternoon for Santa Catarina. Throws it right in to 2 blue jerseys.
And you had Zach Smith well behind where the football was. 3rd and 10, 25-yard line.
Well, that might be a big miss for Tennessee State defensively. Even if you put 3 on the board here, you kind of feel like it makes it a 3-score game heading into halftime.
Got a little wind at your back for a field goal attempt. Would at least like to get a little bit closer. Santa Catarina tries to run. They got him this time. Bryant made the stop. Hurt on the play. Tackle made it to 26 for a 1-yard loss.
Well, that may have been a hamstring the way Bryant was reacting after making that tackle. And again, back to my point, Bryant's kind of watching the quarterback, right? And they're getting a good rush with 4 as Tennessee State. And again, against that much maligned offensive line. And yeah, we'll need to step aside.
Well, they work on Jocelyn Bryant. We'll be back in just a moment. 15-0.
PlayStation.
Jocelyn Bryant, the Mike linebacker for TSU, injured on a tackle. They have worked on him throughout the break here with the medical staff for Tennessee State. They've brought out the cart and looks like maybe an air cast and will take him to get some more treatment. The fans taking a look here. Southeast Missouri leading 15-0, and it looks like a serious injury to Bryant. Unfortunate. He's having a heck of a day. That was his 9th tackle of the day. 6 solos, 1 sack, and a tackle for loss. Meanwhile, over on the SEMO sideline, conversation with Daniel Santa Catarina. We'll have a 4th down play coming up when play resumes.
Santa Catarina throwing and running the football this afternoon, and statistically he's their leading rusher, and a lot of that came out of that big 24-yard run by design that he had earlier here in the quarter. And when play does resume, we're going to be back to that seemingly age-old question of today's game. That is, can SEMO put 6 on the board instead of continuing to kick field goals?
Well, while we have a moment, of course, we mentioned earlier it's the 150th anniversary of college football, and first ever game back in 1869, almost 150 years to the day. And we've been celebrating by honoring various players and teams from the OVC this year. We highlight for Tennessee State cornerback Dominic Rogers-Cromartie. Played from 04 to 07, was an All-American here 2 different times. was the 16th overall pick in the 08 draft by the Arizona Cardinals. That made it one of only 4 first-round picks in the history of the OVC. And Rogers Cromartie started for the Cardinals in the Super Bowl against the Steelers. He also has played for the Eagles and Broncos, Giants and Raiders and Redskins. He has played a long time in the NFL, and he was a great player for Tennessee State. And, it was cool seeing him in the Super Bowl against Pittsburgh for Arizona back, gosh, it's been 10 years or so now. But Dominic Rogers-Cromartie was a fantastic player for Tennessee State, part of our celebration of the 150th anniversary of college football.
Goes by the initials DRC.
Yeah, DRC could play.
A lot of people associate with this program will just say DRC, and folks perk up and know what you're talking about. What a great defensive back. And you know, oftentimes when you're as dominant as he was in college, you wonder, well, the stats don't look all that good. Well, they weren't throwing at it.
Yeah, sometimes it works out that way for defensive backs, doesn't it?
It really does. It's like, but you know, when you're at any level that's pre-league, if you will, those scouts, they know what you got. And when he was drafted, they knew exactly what they had. And it's a fantastic career in the NFL.
Well, they continue to work over Jocelyn Bryant, linebacker for TSU. We'll take another break, come back with more from Nashville in just a moment. Southeast Missouri and TSU.
Extension.
Well, they have Jocelyn Bryant up on his feet, and now we'll either walk him over to a waiting ambulance or put him on the cart. It looks like he's going to walk over there. He was injured on a tackle of Daniel Santa Catarina, was on the field for several minutes here. You can see the wrap and sling on his shoulder. It's unfortunate for Tennessee State. They've had so many injuries. Bryant is really playing well. He's having a huge game today. We mentioned 9 tackles, 6 solos, and a sack. And slowly walking toward the ambulance. And Rod Reed, it's been that kind of season. Coming off that big win over Austin Peay last time out, but he talked during our conference call with him this week about how injuries had just made it so difficult for this group. Gotta have that next man up, and we'll see if they can do it once again here. They have been able to buckle down and get stops when SEMO has had chances to really open up some daylight. It will be 4th down and 11 with a football at the 26-yard line. They've held them to 3 field goals by Kendrick Tiller. The last 3 times have had chances to score from 33, 22, and 23. Santa Catarina Wilkerson connected on the only touchdown of the day. That was way back at the start of the game in the first quarter as a 20-yarder. I think SEMO's going to take a timeout here.
Quite know what the origin of that is.
Well, they let the clock run all the way down. The clock started on the ball mark for play, and they let it run all the way down to 1 second. I guess they'll just go ahead and try to kick the field goal to finish up the half.
Mr. Tiller again.
Well, this will be a longer attempt. This will be in more of the 43-yard range. As Reynolds sets up for the hold. So to finish up the first half, Southeast Missouri looking to take an 18-0 lead. Tennessee State trying to get a little momentum with a stop here. Now TSU calls time.
Little gamesmanship going on here, and this is, you know, mathematically speaking, this will make it a 3-score game at halftime as Tiller is successful here.
Well, and it takes me back to our game last week at the end of the Murray State-Jacksonville State game. Jacksonville State used all his timeouts trying to ice the kicker, and Murray kicker said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and make this one, but he had the distance, but it was a little bit off, and in some of the worst conditions you'll ever see trying to make a game winner from over 50 yards.
Yeah, Zayden Weber's kicked a few of those in high school. He's actually, his family actually lives very close to mine.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll have Murray State in a couple of weeks too, and it may be a very interesting matchup when they and Austin Peay meet. But
As it always is.
Yeah. Zane Weber gave it all he could, and as you mentioned, bad conditions.
A lot better conditions today. This from 43 to finish the half. Tiller. It comes up short and to the right, incomplete. And takes us to the break with Southeast Missouri leading 15-0 over Tennessee State. Rod Reed's team getting some stops when they needed to, holding SEMO to field goals for the most part in the first half. But it is a 2-touchdown advantage for the Redhawks after 30 minutes of play. Aristocrat Bands will be taking the field shortly. Game of the week here in the OVC. Find Southeast Missouri with a 3-1 record and leading by 15 at halftime.
Wouldn't be anywhere I am today without the great game of football and the people that are associated with it. Because of the game of football, my whole life is different.
It's more than just a game, it's a passion. And what it has meant is getting the opportunity to see this game change people's lives. And I do believe that football is a great teacher of things that will allow you to be successful later on in life.
Ultimately, what we want to do is we want to make sure that our guys leave better than they were when they got to us. And I think that's the biggest thing that we have to offer is our ability to serve others.
To be able to see young men come in and they become successful in their whatever avenue in life or career path that they've taken, that's really huge to be able to see yourself as a part of that process.
It's very rewarding when some of these guys come back. I take a lot of pride in that. These kids going out and doing great things in their community, and I hope I've had an opportunity to play a small part in that.
You can't put a price tag on the value of what football means to the campus and the community and our alumni, and it's hard to get people to understand that. So nothing like this game for sure.
Football is part of the educational process. Universities are institutions of higher learning, and college football is part of that process. And I've seen so many young men that football gave them the opportunity to be the first in their family to graduate. Football gave them a chance for a better life.
Football is a vehicle to prepare you for life after football. There's so many values learned within the game, commitment to a cause greater than yourself, learning to use failure as a motivation rather than a deterrent, and the understanding that in a team you can achieve more than individuals.
It's hard to remember the records, but you remember the players. And when you know you've made a difference with the young men, that's what really are the biggest victories for a coach.
I'm on the beach, Sam. Our beach. The one where I was born. Come and find me.
PlayStation.
The game of football has meant the world to me. As a head coach, to be able to see young men come in as boys, and they graduate as men, and then they become fathers, they become husbands, they become successful in their whatever avenue in life or career path that they've taken. That's really huge to be able to see yourself as a part of that process.
Playing college football has meant the world to me, especially I'm playing in my hometown. I'm close to my family, so it hasn't been a hassle for getting anybody to come to the games, and so that's just been probably the biggest thing because I'm a real family-oriented guy and hometown guy, and I didn't want to really go anywhere. So just being here in Tennessee and playing at Nissan Stadium is like a dream come come true, and it's just meant the world to me.
About 8 million people in high school right now trying to claw the spot to play Division I football, to play any type of football in the collegiate level. And it's only about 400,000 that get to have that opportunity to play any type of football, and even less of a percentage to play Division I football. So to be a Division I athlete and to play this game that I love for so long, it's always a privilege.
It's been great to be able to see these guys mature and come through our program and being able to have an impact on their lives, and them also in turn having an impact on mine, and my families.
TSU football is very important to the community. Nashville's a very oriented football city. The buzz, we're only ones that have the buzz around Nashville. So especially with the Tennessee Titans and TSU, so we're like the two main teams that I say we get a lot of buzz. And especially being from a historically black college, I feel like, bringing communities from the North, West, East, and South. So I feel like that plays a big role in meaning a lot to the city.
I really didn't realize how much TSU football meant to Nashville until about recently. We had a community service event where we was at the bridge giving out food and clothes to homeless people, and this guy, he had to be about 60 years old, and he walked up to me and he just was telling me about how he used to watch TSU football when he was a kid, or when he was my age, or when people like that, even went to Vandy, would come to the Hole just to watch games. Even my dad, he went to Vandy. He used to come to the games, and I really never realized how much of a blanket TSU has over Nashville, and it means a lot to be able to say that I bleed blue.
My dad played at TSU. I played at TSU. The community is always hungry for TSU to be a winner, and that's our job to deliver that. You talk about the North Nashville community. You talk about South Nashville, just like Chris said, East Nashville, West Nashville. Everybody's involved in TSU football, and it's been a huge pillar in the community for years, and we're really, really excited about that.
They'll try and stop you every step of the way. They've torn us apart, fractured our society, and the only way to save it is in my hands. My name is Sam Porter Bridges. It's my job to reconnect us.
PlayStation.
I'm the first guy in my family to go to school. I wanted to be a football coach my whole life, and that degree doesn't exist. But because of the game of football, and more importantly, because of a coach in my life, my whole life is different. I have two kids, two girls. Their kids are going to have a different life because of the game of football and a coach, what they did in their father's life. And I owe everything to it, to be honest. I wouldn't be anywhere I am today without the great game of football and the people that are associated with it.
It means everything to me. Any opportunity that I get really stems from my football relationships and things I've built through the sport. It's built a lot of character in me, and a lot of my personality traits I feel like have come from playing quarterback and being on a team.
Playing college football has meant everything to me. It's one of the things I've always wanted to do, and the opportunities are just the relationships that I build with my teammates, my coaches, and people in the community.
Man, it's just a great incubator for life, man. They just, you can't have any holes in your game. The football will expose it, and whatever issues you have, it's going to come to the surface, and good. Now let's go work on it, and that's what's great about football, and it's the ultimate team sport. It really is. When you get in that huddle, it doesn't matter what people believe and what color they are. It's all about the mission, and just being able to put the team over yourself is something we all need more of.
I think the game of football and this Redhawks team are very important to Cape Girardeau. We do a lot to give back, and they give back to us in many ways too, so I feel like it's a big deal.
They lost the Rams in the St. Louis area a couple years ago, so they want a football team, they want a winner, and we gave them that last year, and we want to give it to them again this year. It seems like the community really rose up when we had some success last year.
Game's really more of an event, and it gives it's really ultimately what community's about. It's about coming together, and that's what I feel like football at Southeast Missouri State's done for our communities is help bring people together both with the university and in the community, and give somebody gives something to talk about for the locals and something to support.
Bridges. It's my job to reconnect us.
PlayStation.
Well, there is Tennessee State getting ready for half number 2, hosting Southeast Missouri here at Hale Stadium on the TSU campus in Nashville. SEMO with a 3-1 conference record. TSU 1-3 off an open week. Beat Austin Peay last time, but all Southeast Missouri so far 15-0 through 2 quarters of football. Kevin Inger, Bob Belvin, and Bob, you look at those total yards. That's a big fat difference right there in this football game. TSU's held them out of the end zone, but offensively, Tigers been able to get very little done today.
Well, that's an incredible difference considering you're at halftime of a conference game in early November. And your defense had been playing better leading into that, but I think a great part of that's a play calling by SEMO. I've seen a lot of diversity in it. We've seen their quarterback as the leading rusher. We've seen him make throws to a lot of different receivers. Very impressed with SEMO in the first half.
Southeast Missouri will get the football. Tennessee State won the toss, took it to start the game. TSU's defense is down a couple key guys. Free safety Josh Green out with a targeting call, and Jocelyn Bryant in the final minute of the first half was injured and left the field to go get more medical attention after leading the way in tackles today.
Well, it seems like forever since that reverse on the opening kickoff for Tennessee State. You thought that would kind of jumpstart, catapult them, whatever adjective you want to use in that case, and instead their offense has been non-existent, and those numbers really bear it out.
Well, the best weapons TSU has is the kicker Antonio Zeta, but we haven't seen him today. This is first time out there to kick off to start the second half. First in the OVC in scoring and almost 9 points per game. Shabari Davis and Zach Smith, excuse me, Bob, back deep to return.
Yeah, by my recollection, Tennessee State only crossed midfield once in the first half.
Zeta kicks it short. And will be out of bounds right around the 40-yard line. Daniel Santa Catarina, the senior quarterback for Southeast Missouri. Unloading here a variety of weapons in that first half, connecting with 7 different pass catchers. And that was the one that was a touchdown. Santa Catarina to Wilkerson for a 20-yard score. And showed some good wheels as well, as we'll see here in just a moment. Leading a receiver is Wilkerson, 6 catches for 53 in that touchdown. And we've seen him run some too today. 5 carries for 39 yards. A long of 24. And the football at the 41 to start the half for SEMO. Sends it to the outside for Alston, incomplete. On the outside was Neiman Armstrong, number 21.
And I will add that Santa Catarina is not a game manager by no stretch, Kevin. He has been in total command of this offense, and SEMO's been in total control of this football game. And when you add and put 15 on the board in the first half, doesn't seem like a lot. The way this defense is playing, it's very adequate.
They've had to move some guys around on that defense. Justin Brown now a more active part of what they're doing. Well, they try to mix it up a little bit and confuse them. Tackled by Nick Harper after the carry by Zach Smith. One of their top receivers. And it'll be a gain of 3 yards out to the 49 and bring up 3rd and 6.
And it's not a super creative offense, Kevin, because we saw that play several times in the first half. Short side of the field, wide side of the field, middle of the field, different Cornett and Smith. So there's not a lot of variation to it. It's just accurate.
A 3rd and a long 6. Gun complete inside the 40 and a first down. Wilkerson, the receiver. Epting made the stop, but they will mark him at the 37 and move the sticks with a 3rd down conversion.
Reminds me of that phrase, it's always a good thing to get the football to Kristen Wilkerson. Look at a senior from Memphis.
7 catches today. Smith gets open. Inside the red zone, forced out at the 18. Nesbitt on the back end of the coverage for TSU.
Well, I am liking Smith more and more about where they plug and play him in this offense. Talk about how good of a throw this is right there. Up in the shoulders. And Smith corrals it in. Had to look back just a little bit from it. But when you talk about drawing up something at halftime, getting good field position to start with and taking full advantage of it, that's what's going on right now for SEMO.
Started at their own 41. Counter Hess trying to find that pylon. Will be out of bounds just inside the 5. Nope, he got there. Touchdown. Couldn't tell if he made it to the in-play portion of the end zone or not, but it is a touchdown. So a passing score in the first half, and Geno Hess starts off the second half. The touchdown for Southeast Missouri, trying to take control of this game, run out of the locker room.
And we saw that play a lot in the first half, but to the strong side, or they would overload that side. That time they came with a balanced formation, and the receiver is able to just clear out on that side. And a nice run by Hess, one of the ones, was banging out in the first half for 3 or 4 yards. Now he bust one.
That was for 18 for Hess. 5th rushing touchdown of the season. Tiller missed a field goal attempt to end the first half. He also misfired on a point after attempt back in the first half, but connected 3 times and makes the extra point here to make it.
The one where I was born. Come and find me.
PlayStation.
Well, a chilly November afternoon in the Music City. Southeast Missouri enjoying its trip. Leading 22-0 just underway in the third quarter. They marched it down on a 5-play, 54-yard drive and scored in a minute and a half on an 18-yard run by Geno Hess. 5th rushing touchdown for Hess.
Very impressive by SEMO offensively, and Santa Catarina, week over week, late in his senior season, Kevin, continues to improve.
Rowland from the 2. He is their primary weapon. And a nice return out to around the 25. Chris Rowland averages 27 per kick return. Well, they simply have to start getting something done on offense, and that has really not been the case for Tennessee State today. We showed that pretty lopsided yardage number. There it is. It's even gotten worse since halftime. 329 to 43, and it's a really good defense for Southeast Missouri on the other side.
Well, it's in my estimation still underrated nationally in FCS, and different week. We've got a different stalwart, but it all starts with up front. With that 3-man front they come at you with, it is very tough to get past the initial line of scrimmage.
This is Seth Rowland, Chris's brother. We'll have it out to the 29 to Terrion Richardson. Big nose tackle making the play.
Rod Reed said they have beef up front, talking about SEMO defensively, and they take on tackles and take up space, and I think it's a really good point when you look at it and try to evaluate how they're so successful.
Well, this is Chris Rowland. First down and more, forced out near the 45. 3rd and 6 turns into a nice gain. Lawrence Johnson, safety over to force him out.
And this is a strategy that SEMO's played very well this afternoon offensively, but that is just throw the quick out. Again, it's treated primarily like a run play, but look how quickly Rowland is able to get to the outside and just outrun Zach Hall to the boundary.
First down at the 46. Stephen Newbold's had a quiet day. This may be for no gain. It got to him quickly. Justin Swift helps him from his teammates. Swift from Tennessee and senior from Memphis. All conference selection. This is his 43rd career game today.
Well, that had come in this afternoon with 3 sacks. Yep. Maybe not see that opportunity now because of this wide formation, 3 and 2 at the top, 3 at the top rather. You see out of Tennessee State, it's a lot of misdirection here.
That was the first catch of the day for Stephen Newbold. Had 41 for 620 coming in. Cameron Rosendahl puts it up for Newbold again. He got it. That was a heck of a catch. And down at the 19, one-handed. Might see that one on some highlight reels. Freeman and Johnson in the coverage. Stephen Newbold, what a play.
We'll put it on our highlight reel right here. Maybe this is what jumpstarts Tennessee State. Take a look at the right arm, extend it. And defensively, if you're Freeman back there, you're going, wow. You've got it perfectly defended, and he goes up and takes it out with the right hand, does Newbold. And there's a mainstay in this offense for Tennessee State over the years. We've been had the opportunity to come here to Nashville and see them play.
He is third in the OVC in receptions per game at over 5. 2 of them on this drive, his first 2 of the day. That for Rowland, and incomplete. That might be the best reception we've seen all season in this league.
Watch him go up with the right hand. And has to go back as well on the football and corrals it in. That's the call. That outstanding is not doing it justice. That's one of the better catches, to your point, Kevin. You may see FBS or FCS all season.
In a big game against Southeast Missouri last year when he had 9 catches for just short of 100 yards. 2nd and 10, 20-yard line. TSU trying to get going here. Carry by Roberson. He's going to take it to the house. 20-yard touchdown run to Kendrick Roberson to get Tennessee State on the board in the 3rd.
Now this is well blocked, and that's the point here. Roberson, the roommate of Christian Abercrombie, whom we're all familiar with, and chose to wear his number 6 this season. They swapped up, but this is well blocked at the point of attack, and Roberson able to bounce it out up the middle. And for the first points in Tennessee State this afternoon, and who knows, they're going to play I'm So Glad I Go to TSU across the way. Let's see what they can do and climb back in this football game.
Now we'll get a look at Antonio Zeta. 17 of 19 on field goal attempts, 20 out of 21 on field goals this season. First in makes, first in percentage, and first in scoring the Ohio Valley Conference. Down the middle. Signs of life for Tennessee State. 22-7, 3rd quarter to Kendrick Roberson from Winter Haven, Florida, to the end zone.
The one where I was born. Come and find me.
PlayStation.
Tennessee State on the board with a touchdown in the 3rd quarter to Kendrick Roberson on a 20-yard carry set up by a fantastic catch by Stephen Newbold. So Tennessee State exactly what it needed. A 6-play, 75-yard drive in about 2.5 minutes. Just get something up there and go from here. Southeast Missouri had controlled the game. They played a bunch of close ones, but hoping for a little breather today. TSU trying to get back in it. There's Smith on the return. It's going to be some more good starting field position for Southeast Missouri.
I don't understand the short kick there. I know you're kicking into the sun. Well, I really like Zach Smith, man. He is reliable. He gets it done. Not real flashy. And like I said, they plug and play. Now they've got a big argument on the far side of the field. The Tennessee State coverage team is still out there, kind of jawing back and forth with the SEMO bench. Might be smart to get him off the field.
Get everybody to the sideline and get lined up. Southeast Missouri with a 3-1 conference record. He's trying to keep pace. You got a whole group of 1-loss teams. Get into the final weeks. Robinson trying to reverse field, and Tennessee State stops him for a loss. Back at the 38, 2-yard setback to Jordan Nesbitt. Jordan making the play. Another one of those Florida natives fix the shoulder pads.
And watching the SEMO sideline, I'm not so sure that was a play by design, because it was a reversal by the running back, and then you got Santa Catarina out trying to throw a block. I don't necessarily think that's what you want in that situation.
Yeah, that is not ideal. You need that guy down the stretch. 2nd and 12.
And notice, as opposed to the first half, now we've got SEMO looking to the sideline, making plays, calling changes at the line of scrimmage.
Santa Catarina to Wilkerson. Catch and run. Just outran some people. Big play that SEMO needed. And he will be down in the red zone at the 19. Ronnie Killings making the play.
Well, about mid-season, I went in and filled out my all-OVC ballot, and this guy for sure was on it. Well, you would just look at pure speed here. Very close, given the angle, helped the defenders out from outrunning 4 defenders.
Here is Smith. They did mark it at the 20. Nesbitt makes him another stop, but Smith a gain of 6 to bring up 2nd and 4.
Well, if you're Tennessee State, you cannot trade touchdowns like the first parts of the third quarter it provided for this game. You can't do that. And once again, SEMO is in gear with their offense, and they're just really mixing it up. A lot of misdirection, and then you throw to your speed receiver in the middle of the field.
See Smith and Wilkerson, those two top receivers over on the right side. They'll run. Robinson bounces off, and Tennessee State pushes him back. Be a loss of 2. 3rd and 6 coming up. Kane and Strotter. Terry Strotter, sophomore out of Opelika, Florida. Okay, came in leading the way for this TSU team, 52 tackles.
And a lot of solo tackles as well. I just made a note of that, 34 solo tackles. And I always kind of look at those numbers when you prep for a game. You got your unassisted and your assisted tackles, and to see a number that big as a percentage of your overall is pretty big.
Yeah, that's over half of them. Santa Catarina rolls, looks downfield, and there's the reliable Zach Smith again. Another first down. They'll spot it at the 8. Maybe inside that. He'll put it at the 7. 1st and goal coming up.
I really like Zach Smith. I know I've been going on and on during this game, but he's just a player. He's just a guy that you could put into situations like that, needing to convert in a third inside the red zone, and you find him open on the strong side of the formation.
A little tempo and a little pitch to Smith. He does the rest. Flag, though. We'll see. It's a touchdown if it stands.
Well, how many times this afternoon have we seen this play?
I think it's
there it is, right there.
Yeah, the right tackle, Nate Corte.
That play, I meant not the holding in and of itself, but just a little, I don't know what you call it, a shovel pass or a forward pitch or whatever the case may be, and you're running that misdirection and right play for that situation, but now they've got a much longer way to go.
We'll take the touchdown off the board. 1st and goal from the 18. Santa Catarina has been effective running. Absorbed some punishment here. Another flag. He's brought to the ground at the 15. Let's give him forward progress to the 13. This may come back as well. Oh. So a first down and half the distance on the face mask call against TSU.
A little surprised at Santa Catarina. I mean, he's from Illinois. He was at Northern Illinois, but he's still using the hand warmers on a beautiful day like today. What's the matter with that guy?
Got to keep that throwing hand warm, Bob.
Hey, one of the great.
They can throw it up here. If I could use it.
Yeah, one of the great discussions we had this week was with Coach Tom Matukowicz, Coach Tuke, and he talked about his decision to take Catarina out of that game last week in miserable conditions in Martin and bring Pyle in just because the conditions were just not suitable to the type of playing quarterback that he is, throwing the football. And boy, that really paid off for them last week.
The fake and the fire, incomplete. It's 1st and goal from the 7. Nick Harper on the coverage. They looked over toward Aaron Austin.
Harper's going to have great coverage on the outside, and Santa Catarina is going to try to throw it right in there, and almost threw it away, really looked like in that case, and lived to see another down.
Not sure if that was a catchable ball. They got locked up there in the middle of the end zone.
To continue my thought about Santa Catarina, he always wears that glove on the right hand in bad weather, and they just made the decision just to go with a running type quarterback with Pyle.
The fake, the throw, incomplete. Looking for Cornett. Nesbitt on the coverage. So now you got 3rd and goal.
I'm a little confused by that route by Cornett because I think Santa Catarina thought he was going to come back to the football, not necessarily a back shoulder type fade throw, but a throw where he's going to come back and either catch a football or create a defensive pass interference situation, and it was neither at that point in time. So now kind of an interesting 3rd down. The call, the situation, and you know, SEMO's been kicking field goals a lot this afternoon. They'd like to put another 7 up.
Tennessee State stayed in the game with some stops in these type spots back in the first half, and SEMO will use its first timeout. A little over halfway done here in quarter number 3. OVC always likes to recognize those inspiring student athletes of the game. For Southeast Missouri State is Omardrick Douglas, and for Tennessee State is Dante Ferguson, today's inspiring student athletes of the game. Douglas from Louisville and Ferguson from Lithonia, Georgia. See their academic credentials. Great work, guys, and every year OVC likes to honor those student athletes. More than 100 football student athletes are selected to the OVC Commissioner's Honor Roll, and the OVC's member institutions take pride in developing student athletes who inspire excellence in the classroom, the community, and on the playing field. So congrats, Omardrick Douglas, Dante Ferguson. There's Dante.
Way back in the day, I had one of those majors that you just saw on the screen, and it wasn't civil engineering.
No?
No, it really wasn't.
That's what your son does, though, right?
That is correct.
No.
He's at Tennessee Tech, and I am thankful for that. But I'm to the left. I'm with Omardrick. Hey, great game last week, too.
Sure. Big play in that win against UT Martin. 3rd and goal. Santa Catarina, after the timeout, steps up, and they drop him. But football comes loose at the end of the play. Southeast Missouri looks to have recovered. Alan Daniels making that play happen. Simo dodges the turnover. They'll spot the football at the 12. See another attempt for Kendrick Tiller.
Yeah, dodges the turnover. For the moment, Tennessee State dodges that face mask penalty, which gave a 1st and goal to Simo. You want to see your quarterback in a manhandle like that. And for the most part, Santa Catarina's been able to avoid the rush and go to safety, but not in that case, in that particular play.
Terry Cooking over there to make the grab. From 30, it's Tiller. It's up and good. It's been good today. That's his 4th field goal. 25-7, Southeast Missouri.
PlayStation.
Well, instant GIF time here in Nashville. Stephen Newbold, the play of the day. Fantastic catch for TSU on its scoring drive back in this 3rd quarter. One of the leading receivers in the history of the program, and that was a great play.
After we used to cut a great commercial in radio, I used to have a station manager used to say, print it.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do with that one. That one needs to go above. Are you listening, Bristol? Great catch.
Kick return. Chris Rowland. Dangerous every time he touches a football. And will be out of bounds somewhere in the neighborhood of the 30-yard line.
And now you've got to find a way to incorporate him in the offense. Boy, that's real easier said than done. One of the things I'm surprised about, I'm hoping he's coming back off the field just to meet up with his offense and make a U-turn. And I'm thinking that's going to be the case here, yes. So you got Newbold, who we just had a great play from, and you got Rowland. And we've seen them a couple different times, as you might imagine, different formations. This time they're going to split them out. We've seen them on both sides of the field sometimes almost as a decoy. And I'm still a little surprised as to why you're going to use Rowland on the short side of the field, but got to find a way to get him the football.
Cameron Rosendahl, the redshirt senior quarterback. Newbold has become more active here in the second half after being shut out in the opening 2 quarters. A catch here and a pickup of 8 on 1st down with Justin Swift.
Newbold beats, Kevin. Newbold beats Taj Jenkins on the outside, picks up a couple more yards after the catch. Jenkins had immediate contact with him.
Second and 2 gives you some options. They choose Sean McCauley, redshirt sophomore out of Chattanooga. Ryan Ochoa, Bryant Pirtle on the tackle. It will be a gain of it looks like 1 yard to bring up 3rd and 1. Come up on 5 minutes, 3rd quarter. Southeast Missouri, 2 touchdowns, 4 field goals. Tennessee State's touchdown on a 20-yard carry by Kendrick Roberson. That same drive where we saw that catch a moment ago.
Not quite sure what the stoppage in play is. The umpire or the judge still has the football. Are they going to measure? It looks sizably short.
It's way short to measure.
Maybe the spot.
Now they have moved it. And we'll give Tennessee State a 1st down. So instead of 3rd and 1, it's a first down at the 38.
No wonder Rod Reed was upset.
Yeah, they moved the football. Looked like about a yard.
You have to mention the coach with the headset right beside Rod Reed is Russ Ernfeld, who's been in this league a long time. I know every time I mention that with Tennessee State games we do it, but the fact is he's been in this league over 30 years.
This guy's been in the league a minute. Seth Rowland. Or check that, it's Sean McCauley. And he will be out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. Hall and Freeman chase him down, but Sean McCauley, good work on the outside.
It is, but it's good blocking. See this seal right there? You get what you need to bounce it to the outside. And Raekwon Allen with the big block. Biggest play on the ground so far this afternoon for Tennessee State, and once again a little life in this offense.
4th carry for 44 yards for McCauley. Only had 5 totes coming in. Roberson is string him out. Won't get much. Gain of maybe 1 to the 19. Rashawn McCauley, freshman linebacker for Southeast Missouri, making a play.
A little more tempo from Tennessee State. And again, you don't see a lot. Just one set of signals that's sent into the defense of SEMO. Other than that, they know what they're doing. They're an experienced veteran group. And they're going to just play you straight up with that 3-man front. They need to bring 4 more in the box. They'll gladly do that. We saw a lot of that in the first half. And now you're kind of spreading them out a little bit more because you're having a little success if you're Tennessee State.
This is 2nd and 8. They gave him 2 on that carry. Roberson with Rashawn McCauley in on another play. Kendrick Roberson on the day. As was his 6th carry. At 5 for 26 and a touchdown before that. We'll pick up a couple more to the 16. 3rd and 6 on the way.
It's a big 3rd down here. And I think if you're Tennessee State, you are indeed in 4-down territory given time score here late in the 3rd.
See the time. Tick under 3 minutes. Need to punch this one in and try to stay in the game if you're TSU. Rosendahl hits Lawrence Segree on the out. A first down at the 9.
Going to be a 1st and goal coming up here. That's a nice completion to the outside. And now you're seeing SEMO change out the entire front 3. But this is just a down and out. And this is knowing where your first down is and running a route that's just sufficient enough to get it. That's a nice play by Tennessee State. Nice throw by Rosendahl.
1st and goal. 9 for 14 for Rosendahl today. Corbin gets the call on 1st down. McCauley one more time along with Clarence Thornton. Pickup of 3. 2nd and goal at the 6.
I affectionately call Clarence Thornton the big guy from the Big Easy. He is just a stuffer, a run stuffer. Back to what we talked about in the first half with Rod Reed's comments about that front 3 for SEMO, and he's just a space eater. Just makes it hard to get around there, and is disruptive. And sometimes if you could get that out of your front 3, you're right where you need to be. Look at the shift now.
Says Bob, I got some ball skills too. Had his first career interception last week. They stopped the run on 2nd and goal. Richardson and McCauley.
And he just asked to come out of the game, did Thornton, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Did you notice that last second shift there? There's the Tyrion Richardson. He's another big guy from the Show Me State.
Man, that's a long way to run to the sideline.
5'11", 301. Yeah, that's a lot of man going to the sideline over there too.
It's a loss of 1. 3rd and goal, 7-yard line. Come up on the final minute in the 3rd. TSU trying to punch it in. Rosendahl rolls. Nothing there for him. Some good coverage by Southeast Missouri. We talked about the field shortening up when TSU's been on defense, and SEMO able to do the same thing right here.
I ran 3 receivers to the right side and kind of flooded that area back in the end zone, and this is very well defense. And there's a reason why Rosendahl chose not to throw the football. See the coverage there? There it is. Actually, the intended receiver, one of them had gone out of bounds.
You saw Justin Swift there applying the pressure on Rosendahl. So the reliable Antonio Zito is on, sophomore from Fayetteville, Tennessee. Two-time OVC Specialist of the Week. 17 makes, leads the country. This will be from 33. No good. Well, that's what happened. We start bragging on these guys. Zito, man, he's made pretty much everything else. That was only his second field goal miss of the season. He's been 20 out of 21.
Well, this is a slight push to the left.
Yeah, just kind of hooked it outside the left upright. No good. Well, that's tough for TSU, and they needed points. They had to have something right there.
Preferred 6, but that third down play was well defensed by Simo, and go back and look at that tomorrow and break that down. A look that we had not seen from Tennessee State pretty much prior to that, and that was flooding that zone short side of the field with 3 receivers and just not able to get it done. And again, the Simo defense rises up, and an unexpected miss by Zita.
Time winds down in the third. Wilkerson makes a catch and only got a yard or 2.
You know, Tom Matukowicz talked about Wilkerson, and Thornton's going to leave the field. He's going to walk back through the end zone, almost going to walk through your shot right now. Called Wilkerson the poster child of the turnaround we've had in our program. That's bad news for Simo, I'm telling you, because they got a big one next week that we'll be at, actually, with Eastern Kentucky.
So, third quarter ends, an injury for Simo, but they lead 25-7.
PlayStation.
Well, it's nice in the sun. It's a little chilly in the shade here in Nashville. We start quarter 4. Hale Stadium. Southeast Missouri leading TSU 25-7. Kevin Inger, Bob Belvin, Ryan Jordan. Gavin Neville taking great care of us up here in the booth. And Daniel Santa Catarina running on 2nd and 8. Epting and Killings take him to the turf. We have seen Santa Catarina run more today than some of the other games we've seen. That was his 8th carry of the day. He had 7th for 35, including a 24-yarder back in the first half. He has thrown for 271 yards and an early touchdown to Christian Wilkerson on 21 out of 32.
He lost his title of leading rusher with that big run by Hess a while back, and actually running more than I would have imagined he would, given the fact that Pyle may still be out with a shoulder.
Well, he got 4 on that carry, and Geno Hess is off to the races. Trying to sprint to the end zone, got there, touchdown, Southeast Missouri, a 73-yarder for Hess.
Oh, no doubt his longest of the season, and that really hurts if you're Tennessee State, as you had Simo pushed back into not so great starting position, and this is more of Hess turning it on once it gets to that proverbial second level right here, and now he accelerates, breaks tackle there, and then it's off to the races. Little surprised that he was able to outrun Epting. Tried to catch him from behind. That's a big unexpected plus offensively for Simo to see Hess bust that big run.
PAT for Tiller is on target. All Southeast Missouri in the second half. Early fourth, 32-7 Redhawks.
PlayStation.
Nice here in Nashville, and we'll be in Evansville as well in March. The 2020 OVC Men's and Women's Basketball Championships take place the 4th through the 7th at the Ford Center. That's a great place. 14 games in 4 days. Teams competing to earn the OVC's automatic bid for the NCAA tournament. OVCsports.com/Evansville if you want more info. Southeast Missouri taking control of this game here in the second half. A Geno Hess 73-yard touchdown run. 32-7 is where we stand. Well, everything gets started on Tuesday. There is the slate of games involving OVC teams. You see Tennessee State, they'll be over at the Gentry Center for Brian Collins. The Tigers opener against Alabama A&M. Southeast Missouri will actually be here in Nashville on Wednesday. They play at Vanderbilt to open the season. There you go. Get it going. Tip it off. Bob interviewed everybody he could interview at OVC Media Days a couple weeks ago.
Had a blast, though. Hey, listen, all the coaches are undefeated then. It's absolutely great interview opportunity. Had a really good time, though. We're ready to go. It's here.
The 29-yard line. Tennessee State. Not much happening with a run play on first down. Derek Calhoun makes the stop. There's Seth Rowland.
Yeah, you've got to throw the football here. We've got the window open, so there's some coaching assistance coming from below, shall we say?
Yeah, in the bleachers.
Yeah.
That happens a lot of times in a football game.
Doesn't matter the level.
No, it doesn't. Rosendahl guns this one complete. That's Chris Rowland. Bounced off a defender and got a first down and advances inside SEMO territory to the 48. Amadric Douglas on the stop.
Aside for that touchdown or that first down conversion earlier, this is the best throw of the afternoon by Rosendahl, coming into the quarter with 100 yards passing, and this will certainly add to it. And as we said time and time again, very smart to get the ball to number 3.
Well, it's been the Rowland brothers on this series. Seth Rowland picks up a couple to the 46. Zach Hall on another play. We talked about Cameron Rosendahl, the quarterback. He played a couple seasons at Georgia Military College and suffered shoulder injuries, had surgery, thought his career was done. He moved back home, looked for a job. He worked some construction, and then their tight ends coach, Antonio Bradford, kind of reached out and said, hey, what are you doing for college? And he kind of explained his whole situation. Said, well, if anything happens and you want to make a change, give me a call. And Rosendahl last spring in 2018 started wondering, hey, maybe I should give this a shot. Don't want to regret it down the road. Chris Rowland has a first down. He'll be near the 35-yard line. They'll mark him at the 36, but just a really interesting story. A guy who was pretty far down on the depth chart. Talking about Cameron Rosendahl, the quarterback. You see this throw for a first down. He got in a couple games at the end of last season. Started with some injuries to other quarterbacks. So still not necessarily 100% in spring ball. They were impressed with what he did. Hand off here, Seth Rowland. Gains a couple to the 34. But with some of the other situations with quarterbacks, he moved up to the starter and got him going with a win over Mississippi Valley State in their season opener. Was injured at Middle Tennessee and still has come back and played, and his leg's probably about as healthy as it's been all year. Rod Reed told us this week. Just a great story. Pass downfield incomplete here for Chris Rowland. But how's that for a college football story? A guy who's pretty much done playing football, especially with injuries and working construction. And then now the next thing you know, he's starting here for Tennessee State.
It's a great story, and we appreciate Jose Garcia, the sports information director here at Tennessee State, for relaying, adding the color to that story. And tip to Antonio Bradford too for continuing to recruit him. You're always recruiting regardless of the level, whether it's FCS or FBS, and that was a nice move in. And where would this football team be, albeit the record's not exactly starry, if you will, for Tennessee State. But where would they be without what he's done? Rosendahl, look at that pass right there.
That's a nice catch by Kendrick Roberson. Scored a 20-yard touchdown back earlier in this half. Zach Hall with the stop.
Yeah, Roberson.
It'll be a first down. Excuse me, Bob.
Robinson's a great story too. They're roommate of Christian Abercrombie and decided this season to wear number 6 in honor of him. And absolutely love the stories about college football. And
he stretched out, got that first down, and moved the sticks. 27.
Yeah, that's even more important effort when you look at a 32-7 score, Kevin, and you're still putting out that kind of effort. That's what you have to like about this Tennessee State football team. And they've just battled through injuries and just bad luck.
Carry for Corbin. Out of Euless, Texas, the redshirt senior.
In Middle Tennessee that you mentioned, one of those FBS opponents for Tennessee State this season, and Rosendahl was having a great game until he got injured at that point. It was a very close game, and that kind of unfortunately started them on their downward slide, and they did not play very well in the HBCU type games that they play. And here we are this afternoon, and this drive aside and the one that got them that only touchdown, they've been kind of non-existent offensively.
So Justin Swift, keep an eye on that. He holding his left arm down at the end of that last play. Saw Clarence Thornton go off to the locker room after the last defensive series for Southeast Missouri. Now, before the play runs, is a timeout asked for by Tennessee State.
Also saw Zach Hall, 5. With a big support on his right arm in that last shot as well. And, we're 2/3 of the way through the season. We're heading in this home stretch. And
we'll finish that when we come back. Southeast Missouri.
PlayStation.
They never disappoint, the Aristocrata Bands here at Tennessee State. Southeast Missouri leading 32-7. TSU called time before the 9th play of this drive that's covered 48 yards in over 4 minutes so far. 2nd and 6. Catch. How about that for a first down?
We have a tackle eligible here.
I think we did. Catch for the big man. That was Cameron Stewart. 6'3" and 320. The freshman from Chattanooga.
Put me in, coach. More importantly, it's a conversion for Tennessee State.
He said, yeah, that catch by Stephen Newbold back earlier in the half was okay, but how about my catch? You got some hands, dude.
Love it.
First and goal at the 10.
And that energizes the Tennessee State sideline in what's been a very difficult day for them.
Go back to the ground for DeMarco Corbin. Stacked up after a pickup of 2 to the 8. Zach Hall, Badarius Knighton, veterans on this defense.
And the whistles continue down on the field to try to separate. Now we're getting in the last 8:55, hopefully not a bit chippy. A lot of new faces along that defensive front, except with the exception of 5 right here for SEMO, but a lot of new faces along that front.
One thing, Bob, we've seen in the second half, it's been a much cleaner half than what we saw in the first 2 quarters. I'm not going to knock on wood, but it was a penalty fest in the first half. Rosendahl looks and now will turn. Step out of bounds after a gain of a couple. He'll be out at the 6 for 3rd and goal.
Well, he hung with it as long as he could. Rolling to the right, did Rosendahl. Great field shot right there of him, and squeezed maybe a yard or 2 out of it that just didn't look like it at first, but it's going to come right at you. Still looking, and then trying to squeeze it out. That's good camera work.
Yeah, it sure is, because you trying to make that decision whether you want to stay with the shot or try to take the contact.
And it helped me tell the stories.
A little bit of both.
You bet.
Third and goal to the end zone. Was that a catch? It was. It's a touchdown. Terrific play by Chris Rowland. A 6-yard strike. TSU saying we're not done yet with 8 minutes left.
And the coverage is there, Kevin. I don't know what's better, the throw or the catch. Let's take a look. Rowland's going to get single coverage outside. It's going to be Swift, and my goodness, can you cover him any better than that?
Yeah, Badarius Knighton was right there.
I tell you what, you better be real careful here as we go for 2. We'll talk about it in just a moment, but Rowland's beginning to get some numbers. Maybe not quite near the 200 a game he's been averaging.
We'll go for 2. Rosendahl rolls. It's intercepted in the end zone. To snuff out the 2-point try, DJ Freeman got the pick. And now here comes a little more extracurricular after the play. So 32-13 after the touchdown. So go back to this touchdown reception by Chris Rowland, which was his 6th of the season.
I mean, Swift is there. The only thing he doesn't do is just turn around and look at it, but Kind of subconsciously, why would you even think to do that? You've got to cover that well. And hey, hats off to Roland, too. That guy's just fantastic.
He really is.
I'll put my ballot in. In fact, that's another one that mid-season, when you saw what Chris Roland was doing and how he was helping out this football team, that was an easy choice for all conference.
You know, at 5'8" and 180, it'd just be hard to locate sometimes, but on a play like that, that's especially difficult. I mean, it's one thing for a big receiver to make a catch like that, but that was impressive by Roland.
You know, all elements of that were good. It's a great throw, great catch, well defended. One of the three elements of that had to fail, and going to point to anybody, it would be Swift, but my goodness, hard to fault that.
So now with 8 minutes left, TSU will kick it off. The job becomes for Southeast Missouri. You just want to grind out some yards and use some clock here. That's the best drive of the day for TSU. 12 plays for 71 yards in just over 6 minutes. Fair catch will advance the football for Southeast Missouri to start this drive. I'll put it down at the 25 for the Redhawks, trying to get to 4-1 and keep pace with first place in the OVC. That UT Martin Jacksonville State matchup going on. Understand Skyhawks are leading there. The ways to go.
SEMO, a winner last week at UT Martin, and the week before that at Jacksonville State, and now here at Tennessee State. So you talk about a 3-game road swing that they've had after their homecoming, and there's a possibility they'll come out of that 3-0 and position themselves in great shape in the conference.
Geno Hess has had a big day. His 10th carry, he's rushed for 118 and a couple touchdowns. The most recent one was a 73-yarder. Gets about 6 on first down.
And with that 73-yarder, that's the longest run of the season for SEMO. Most yards gained as well in a single play. So Hess getting it done. And well, you just think you're not going to see Santa Catarina run the football with some design plays like we saw through the first 3 quarters.
Hess get maybe a yard on second down. Wrapped up by Alan Daniels and Dante Ferguson. When you talk about Hess, and he'll go off here for Mark Robinson. But he is certainly capable of carrying the football as many times as you need him to. He broke the state record in Illinois with 64 carries in a high school game at Peoria High School. 64 totes.
How do you get out of bed on Saturday morning if that's the case?
I don't know. That's a whole bunch of times to get hit.
I mean, they used to talk about Jerome Bettis in the NFL not being able to get out of the bed on Monday morning, right?
Mark Robinson carries for a first down here with Strotter and Killings. Wrapping him up. First down at the 35.
Trying to recall my memory on the along those lines. There was a team in college football that did not throw a forward pass last week that won a football game, and it's escaping me, but 62 carries.
Santa Catarina going deep for Wilkerson and intercepted. Nesbitt got the pick. They try to lull him to sleep with the run game. They go deep to Wilkerson. TSU gets the interception. First turnover for Southeast Missouri today.
Yeah, they're going to try to go for the big play and put this game out of reach. And a bit underthrown by Santa Catarina. He really didn't have his footing the way he wanted it. And looking for Mr. Reliable. And this time the double coverage on Wilkerson in the middle of the field results in a Nesbitt INT.
Dejor Nesbitt, senior out of Winter Garden, Florida. First interception of the season. Nice play. Got it, kept his feet. Gets it to the 37 to start this series for TSU. They marched it down 71 yards last time. Had 2 long scoring drives here in the second half. Cameron Rosendahl running out of time, though. Keep throwing to that guy, Roland. First down inside SEMO territory. Put it at the 41.
Zach Hall blitzes at the middle of the field then and left that lane open. Ball wasn't necessarily thrown where Hall left from, but it left a big gap in the middle of the field, allowed for a throwing lane.
Well, This time they shoot it out to Al Malik Moore for his first catch of the day. Redshirt sophomore from Miami. Justin Swift forces him out, but they move the sticks again. A first down. The offense is starting to look better for TSU. Unfortunately, they're running out of clock to work with here. That's incomplete. They went in Moore's direction again.
Well, sitting on a possible interception in was Taj Jenkins on the outside, and Rosendahl threw it off the shoulder nearest the sideline from the receiver, and that created an opportunity there they just were not able to capitalize on. You got to be real careful there. Now, for the first time, I think all afternoon, we've seen a lot of substitutions for SEMO, and they had a hard time getting Terrion Richardson off the field, big 99, and gonna wait and see if he's going to go to the training staff or not. It was very late in their changes. In these last two series, Kevin, I've seen SEMO change their defensive personnel more than at any point in time prior to that.
5.5 to play. Tennessee State on the move. SEMO.
They'll try and stop you every step of the way. They've torn us apart, fractured our society, and the only way to save it is in my hands. My name is Sam Porter Bridges. It's my job to reconnect us.
PlayStation.
Second and 10 for Tennessee State. 5.5 to go, trailing Southeast Missouri. Historic Hale Stadium in Nashville. Seeing Cameron Rosendahl on this offense look much better the second half. He's gone 16 of 23, close to 200 yards passing. This one for Rowland. He got a foot in. It's a first down at the 4-yard line. Chris Rowland, some fantastic plays, that time against Lawrence Johnson.
Just keeps racking the numbers up. The throw is good too. Either Rowland's going to catch it, and the defender just a hand away from deflecting it. Johnson. It's a great pass.
That is a 20-yard reception that puts Rowland right at 100. 7 catches for 100 and pushes Rosendahl over 200 passing on the day. First and goal. Incomplete. That was intended for Lawrence Agree, a local guy from Laverne, Tennessee. So now second and goal. Come up on 5 minutes left. Sun starts to set here in Nashville. This time tomorrow it'll be pitch black with the time change.
We're playing a Twilighter tomorrow.
Yeah,
we kick
playing
off
under the
2.
lights. Not a fan. The time change, that's the worst. Live on the western edge of the central time zone. It gets dark at 4:30. A carry for Sabri Curtis. Richard Jr. from Atlanta has been injured and back today against SEMO. Advances to the 3 for third and goal coming up.
Yeah, situationally, I don't think they've been able to use Sabri Davis a lot this afternoon, because particularly in the second half, they're playing catch up for the most part. Look at these wholesale personnel changes from SEMO. It's something we've not seen a lot of from them, and second time, and we'll have them again next week. On defense, it's just not common there, but I know they've got some injuries along that front, and that has to be a concern for them going into next week, Eastern Kentucky.
Direct snap. Not much happening as they went to McCauley. So Josh Avery get back there quickly. Justin Swift as well.
Yeah, Avery playing in his hometown. You mentioned it earlier, but
stop him. Yeah, back at about the 8. Lined up Rosendahl out wide to the right.
There's Avery right there, big 9-0. See if they do that again. That's the correct play to call on third down, but now you got to get it on a fourth.
Pump fake and a fire, and an interception in the end zone by DJ Freeman. He's going to bring it out, which was not a great decision. And slung to the ground by Stephen Newbold. Out past the 10-yard line. I think if I'm DJ Freeman, I might have taken a knee right there. But, man, this group can get some turnovers, and they get one right here.
I thought Freeman was going to take it up the sideline that he was nearest at this point in time. You can see there's no one in your screen here. There's great opportunity here, but instead he goes back to the middle of the field, and he'll finish it up That was a little indecisiveness, but he's already come out now, so he's got no choice. And his position coach met him when he came off the field.
It is the third turnover for Southeast Missouri today. There are the scores. Austin Peay beat Eastern Kentucky, Tech over Missouri State, and UT Martin leading Jacksonville State. Fourth quarter over in West Tennessee. That's you talk about an elimination game. That's one for Jacksonville State. 5-time champs on the ropes. Meanwhile, SEMO with the chance to run out the clock basically here. Gino Hess on the carry.
So I get to pull out my really cool language and say that Martin has been lit all week long with homecoming and getting ready for Jacksonville State. And it looks like they may very well put Jacksonville State out of the race. And, you know, when we get, particularly in the next week with 3 left to play, also we have to be thinking about the fact that we got 2 teams, we the conference, I'm speaking on behalf of the conference here, got 2 teams into the playoffs last season. These teams keep beating each other up and may only be the conference champion that gets there.
And that's really a good point, because if everybody, you have a bunch of good teams, but they all beat one another, it may keep somebody out of the playoffs. But whoever wins the league, they're going to have earned it this year. And UT Martin is trying to go to 5-1. Southeast Missouri looking to go to 4-1 with about 2.5 minutes to go and looking good here in Nashville.
And who's the only team to beat UT Martin this season?
This
we're looking right here.
They did it last week as Gino Hess carries for a first down, having a big day. He is carried 12 times for 131, couple touchdowns, a 73-yarder that was really a big play. He made it 32-7 and kind of put it out of reach.
Yeah, it was teetering then, and then Hess busts the 73-yarder. You're exactly right. And keep in mind, this is a SEMO team, mostly returning this season from last year. They got a at-large bid and won a game in the playoffs.
Hess takes off again. Will have the first down and tackled out past the 40 by Nick Harper.
So with Custis out, Roberson, we saw a lot of in the first half, but Hess has been their workhorse. When they've needed to run the football here in the second half, they've given it to Gino Hess.
He's been really good today. That puts him at 156 on 14 carries. Well, that three-headed monster of Mark Robinson, Zion Custis, and Gino Hess. Effective senior quarterback, Daniel Santa Catarina. Go into victory formation now. TSU has a couple timeouts if they choose to use them.
Santa Catarina wanted to go back to the line of scrimmage. He didn't want that negative yardage.
I don't want to take away from my rushing total here. He's carried it 8 times for 40 yards. He's also gone for 271, passing on 21 out of 33 with a touchdown early on. Here's what's left for Southeast Missouri, and it's against Eastern Kentucky next week. We'll have that game for you over in the Cape at EIU, and then Murray State to finish up. Well, under a minute here. Thanks to our friend Gavin Neville, doing a great job up here in the booth today. Spotting. He's been our stage director, stats, all of it. Of course, Ryan Jordan, our whole crew here. ESPN 3 crew working hard as they always do. They set it up and take it down and get us great shots and take great care of us. Well, Coach Rod Reed, this team beat Austin Peay last time and coming off an open week, but Southeast Missouri took control of this game. They led 15-0 at half and really took control in the third quarter. And SEMO wins it 32-13. Big day rushing the ball. 156 yards on 14 carries and 2 scores from Gino Hess. Bob, it's a really good SEMO team, and they can always seem to come up with those turnovers when they need them.
Well, they did, and defense breeds a lot of that, and they just play so solid and so fundamental, and they've got, as I mentioned, the athleticism to match. They're a really good football team, but the thing to keep in mind in these last 3 weeks of the season, SEMO's only loss is to Austin Peay, and they have identical records.
SEMO now 6-3 and 4-1 in the lead. TSU goes to 2-7 and 1-4. For Bob Belvin, I'm Kevin Ingram. Be with us next week. We'll have Southeast Missouri hosting Eastern Kentucky. It's been a presentation of ESPN. As we say so long from Nashville, some of the highlights of today's victory for SEMO over Tennessee State. Both teams with some big plays. That was a lot of fun. We'll see you next week for OVC Game of the Week.